Well, ladies and gentlemen, Julius, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Dr. Peabody?
Look, man, I am well. I'm well on this
Uh-huh.
Friday evening. I'm well.
I'm telling you. Well, excited to be. I'm definitely excited. A whole lot going down in LIB today, though.
It's a lot happening, bro. A lot happening. We still got to talk about that. What happened to the three hundred
You
thousand
want to know
dollars?
what happened exactly?
Three
Yeah.
hundred thousand dollars that was given for the 73 district.
Well, oh
Um,
yeah, that is out on my agenda for discussion. Definitely, we want to know whether people would be prosecuted as a matter or investigated and prosecuted. You
that
know.
look that look like a dead case to me.
You know, it only will become a dead case if we just let it to become one. But I think the media could play a pivotal role in making sure that it is highlighted. You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
And if we can just do that, more than
yep.
likely we will be able to get some kind of answer. We want to know who took the money. I
Hmm.
mean, if the money was given, um, then we want to know who took the money, who ate the money,
Yeah,
and not let people just run around with their own narrative. But hopefully
yeah,
we have a good conversation today, man, especially this
yeah.
Friday.
And then we got to talk about some of the names in government, a new appointment made in government on, I think, yesterday or day before yesterday.
Yeah.
Uh, they appointed some new folks in government and
Okay.
who's who in government. And the issue of Sarah Yanti Beslow and credentials, it still seems to be a lot of questions surrounding that, though. I mean, it seems to be, I've been doing my own research and stuff like that, and
Mm-hmm.
boy, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. I'm telling
Yeah. But again, that's part of why we said this before. Um, if if we were serious, what we should do is get an accredited institution, okay, to do these investigation and let them provide that the result to the public and to the government,
you.
such
Hmm.
as the Senate, because they're going to go through the legal process. Their
Hmm.
finding can be provided, and then based on that, it can be taken to the next level. But at this point, what we are seeing happening here is just people who are just gossiping. Or this is what I saw. This is what I suspected. People, you're hearing some people even saying because on her resume, I mean, it's often in Liberia, the CV, right? On her CV, she's only mentioning a master's. Okay, my resume, I mean, I can actually edit my resume to a specific job that I'm applying for. When I was trying to apply at the airport, right, to get a job at the airport, to just be working because I wanted to get free flights to get from one place to another, I had to literally edit my resume so it didn't come across as though I just wanted to go there to mess around, because
Right.
these employers will look at it, right?
Yeah.
So I made sure I included, of course, I had my high school and then my customer service experience, and had that put on there, and I provided that. Was that mean being misleading? No. If I were to put at the time, I was still again, I was in school trying to pursue my master's at the time. Had I put that on there, the hiring managers first are gonna look at me like, dude, you want to work as a cabin service person in your master's degree, you just want the flight benefit and all of these things. So sometimes people have to rationalize what you
Right.
do. You know what I'm saying? So we cannot dwell on those kind of information and say, oh yeah, okay, they disqualify the person. I don't think that's rational, per my view though. But I think
Yeah.
but it's important though. It's very good
It's important.
that we invest these kind of time in critiquing people and their their credentials, especially
Right.
academic credentials. If people want to use this to skip the line, they should be halted, again, go through the needed process, and I support that. I support any form of inquiry on people's academic achievement. All of those things should be investigated to the fullest. I think so. I support the idea, but let it not just be by anybody or everybody to just simply just jump up and say, "Hey, this is what we're doing." I don't support that.
There's a lot of names that are coming up, and I think it's only fair to do the
Hmm.
Liberian people justice. And Tomalin Joe, welcome. It's only fair to do the Liberian people justice to scrutinize those names. I hope we can just go one on one the names and all of that, and just talk 1 or 2 minutes on the names of the nomination for those different positions. One on one. We'll talk about them and what we know about them, because we know there have been previous nomination in the past government, and people were very keen. They were, I mean, the people wrote the Senate, and some of those names did not go forward and all of that. But it's very fair. There were other folks who were disqualified. Darlington was disqualified based on that his credential. And people went up and say he was appointed to the national airport, and people went up and say, yeah, he did not graduate from this place. He did not graduate. So I think it'll be unfair, but it's also be fair. So Tony, welcome. Give your introduction, brother, and let us move on with this show, my brother.
Yes, man. Lofa, it's good to be back, and Dr. Peabody on the closing argument, and to all our viewers. I see Sandy O Menza watching from LY Rehab Road, Yoman Tro Kranga, John Anderson, Bill Sompe, and Alvin Detroit. We are from Minnesota, and I see my boy Henry Jala in the back.
Yeah, my favorite journalist in Liberia, Henry Jala. I mean,
All
right.
right. It's good to be back, and as we what today, this is the first week we on for the new administration. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, day 5 of President Joseph Boyka's presidency. And he's I think he's done well with his appointment. He have gone, he made a lot of appointments so far. I think remaining 6 ministries, the ministries of lands and mines, what post and telecommunication, right? Yeah, and post and telecom. What again? A couple of ministries, internal
Sports,
affairs, and what?
even sports.
Even spoke. He already made appointment.
Yeah.
Ko Mangalu.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so a couple of ministries remaining, but I think about 6. But he haven't appointed the major ministries, nominated to the Bureau of Ministries. But what I see happening in Peabody and Lofa, I don't know whether you guys observe it. They call it the UP Alliance. Okay, so what happened is that
Mm-hmm.
they will come up with these lists, fake lists, put it up there. In other words,
With people react.
then the first will come out and say fake. You know,
Yeah.
you watch it, right? Watch the trend. They'll come up with a list. They'll put it out there like, in other words, I want the people to know that, that what we're thinking of, what we want. But then by the time they put it up there, then they'll be forced to go on and say fake. Yeah, they will come and say fake. And then later on, if you notice, some of the names will just gradually make it on the next appointment list. That's what I've been observing, though. And that's what I've been observing. But
Yeah.
again,
It's just
all this interest, when you support it outside, you expect to get I mean, that's how in our country people do. Some people do it for free. Some people do it because of love of country. Some people do it because they want to look. Lofa and Peabody, you guys know, in Liberia, in Africa, especially our country, Liberia, people just want to just say, St. Tomalin George, Director of National Security Agency. So when I get on the ground, when I'm walking, yeah, NSA boss there.
Yeah.
All the trappings of the job, When I enter when I get somewhere, I get my bodyguards there around me, my aides there all around me. Maybe I get 2-car convoy. When I get there, so who I got? The NSA boss. The NSA boss there. Then you're moving. And that's how I think that's why people love the government job. But honestly, I remember when President Weah was president, I went for the opening of the park. So after the park opened here, he invited me to Jamaica. Well, say now, he said, Tomalin, so we here now. I just thought I was tough. What you want? I'm the president, my two girls, they stay in high school. I can't lead them there and come to Liberia right now. He said, yeah, you're right. My second man, we talk. But most people don't understand, especially when you're in America, you work. I've been in my job for 11 years in America. Now, when you know when you leave your job, you go Liberia, where you serving at the pleasure of the president. In the morning, the man get up, somebody go in and there while you sleeping, somebody say, "Oh, Lofa talking some crap about oh." If somebody say, "Who that man from there?" How they go and you have no point, you can't challenge it. So your whole thing is just in jeopardy. So that's why you gotta be some people love government job. The only job I want to right now, I'm honest with you guys, elected job. I want to run for the house. Yes, I elected job I want. Yes, but say so when you elected that position, you got 6 years or 9 years, depending on which one you're running for. The people like bro will determine whether you get your job your second term. But that one you free, you know what to do now. But the appointed job, forget it, man. They can kick you out tomorrow anytime. Peabody,
Yeah.
but I said what at first I see Peabody, I said the man wearing polo shirt for the man, oh looking good. I get rid of that man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so.
But so I mean, and again, then based on that though, now I mean, we still got a little bit of time while waiting for other people. I think it's important. Let's talk about this. I'm really curious to know. I know you mentioned of the fact that I guess it just comes with the recognition. Oh, that person works for the government, or that person works for this institution. But what are the added value? I mean, what is it that people will purposely leave from here? Because we're talking about people who are literally just flooding to Liberia. You see, almost everybody who supported the president. Not everybody's going there for job, but vast majority of some of our friends who are just, I mean, young people, just picking up their bag and running to Liberia. Why? Why do people feel like they must be a part? Go ahead.
Yes,
It's not
go
in
ahead.
the lawful country. It's not. Folks are just a lot of them want to be dishonest. If I'm making a 6 figure here, why I want to go to Liberia and make less than that? Some
That's
are
the
saying,
question I
oh,
asked myself.
some are saying, oh, I want to go back and contribute to the country. There's many ways you can contribute. You can go there, even volunteer your time in some of the ministry and just help. But they go back because one of the things that we have in our country, our our
Back there.
our justice system is a little bit, they go back there to steal. Like Timothy said, you walk in, you walk in, 30 people look at you. Oh, that's the minister of information. That's the minister of foreign affairs. Oh yeah, that's the guy right there. You know who that guy? I've been to a restaurant before in Liberia, and folks will look at me and tell me, "Damn it, you know who that guy sitting over there?" I'm like, "Please leave me alone. I don't want to know."
I don't care.
Oh, look at that guy. They come in. You walk in with 3 or 4 armed men, and nobody attack me or nobody even threaten your life. They're walking with 3, 4 armed men to protect them, and stuff like that. But I mean, most of the people that you see
Peabody,
running.
let me tell you a joke on Peabody. Finish Peabody. Let me tell you a joke about you. Lofa, finish. Let me tell you a joke about you.
Go ahead, Timothy.
Lofa, the man went Liberia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went together that time. The man go, he put a face cap on. He trying to disguise himself. He was saying now the post say, oh, that guy there. They begin grab it, the tricky runs around him. You see, hey man, we begin to say, hey man, can you put your name on t-shirt? The tricky behind him. He said, no. I don't want that. Then we went to the grave of declaration. They want Orange Grove. The post say, oh, guy, he built one nice school in the area. They said, oh, everybody want petition you to run. He said, no. No. I said, no. I said, go for it. He said, no. So he said, man, I tried to disguise myself. The post did. I said, but I'm okay, happy. And there are some people yearning for. And they can't get. You see?
Wow.
But it's interesting though. No, but interesting. But
welcome. But I rather want us to begin with that. The 73 district.
When he joined, he got in government. You know, to go to Cathedral campus, high school day, they will get car.
Wait, I mean, you're talking about?
Yeah. So the man started the bullshit for long.
Good to see you guys.
But good to see you, man. Good to see you, man.
I'm happy it's Friday, man. It's been a hectic week.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a story. Somebody came on the court across Africa one time. We were having a conversation, and the person started saying, and you guys are out here talking about even Ben Sanvee will sit and want to talk about how bad things are. When we were back there in Liberia, we're walking to school. The kids were driving cars. I said, but what does that have to do with? What does that have to do? No, they all help. He got no room to say anything. I said, well, hold on. This-
You'll be all right.
he was with Charles Stiller. I said, but again, his participation in the government, isn't that why some of you are still trying to get back into government? Or because he was driving car then and you weren't as fortunate as he was? I mean, sometimes, but it was funny though. That night it was really funny. I just kept putting him. I said, yeah, tell us. It was a good one.
It is what it is. Guys,
Keff Figo, welcome. Keff Figo, welcome.
Wait, Kev, you can be waiting for me to come on the show before you come?
No,
You don't say nothing crazy.
I had to go and get my blue moon. You know.
Yeah, Jesus.
Jesus, today's Friday.
Take trouble today.
We're on the topic to. Oh my goodness.
Are we discussing the president appointment?
No, it'll be the second part, but today I want to begin with that because there's still a lot of controversy surrounding that $350,000 to the 73 district. Most of the commissioners of those places or the partisans from the area say that they did not get any of that money. Money did not reach them, and in fact, it have been a concern about the money. So we want to know what is happening. What are you hearing about that 350,000? I know you asked a legitimate question the other day about where did the 350,000 come from? And I saw somebody else talking about it today. Where did the 350,000 come from to go to the different districts?
I think that's what I think people have started to ask that question. But you know, when a new government comes to power, the traditional people who are loud about certain things, they tend to give the new government like a honeymoon period. But I think it's a valid question to ask. I think the executive mansion owes us, some kind of explanation. I mean, because 350 or 380 or 75,000 or whatever the amount was, it's no small money for the president to just throw around, right? It's not like taking into consideration who we have as president, right? Prior to him becoming president, we know he was not in the capacity. And listen, I'm not hating here. There's no reason to say that when you become president, you get a chance to, there's a lot that is at your disposal. But listen, like I say, the things that Totman did, the thing that Stauber did, the thing that Taylor did, the thing that Ellen did, the thing that Weah did, Weah was in another league, right? He became the first major social media president, to be quite honest with you. Ellen got a better end of the bargain because social media already started heating up towards the end of her presidency. But I think Weah really got the scrutiny. And sometimes I think that's one of the reasons why Weah conceded the way he conceded. He was like, hell no, I'm about to get out of this place. These people are not going to give me no hard time for another. So I think Joe Boyka has to really brace himself for the scrutiny that his government is going to go under, I think he's putting together a great team. I must admit, I'm really impressed with some of the names that I'm hearing. Have some questions about a few, but listen, I think it's a little early. Let's give the Senate a chance to do its job. But I think so far, overall, I think he's appointing people. He's appointing competent people. He's appointing people who his cabinet seems to look very solid, I must admit. And take this from me. This is an avid opposition to Joe Boyka, right? I have been very clear about the fact that I never thought he was the right person to lead the country. But with that being said, I will be the first to say if I see him do some of the things that he needs to do or that he's supposed to do, I'll be the first to come out and say, hey, I think he's doing the right decision, the right thing. I'm a little disappointed. I think the female, the gender balance has dropped, because I was looking at a list today. I think there's only 6 principal cabinet positions that's left open. And within that 6, there are a few people who people are assuming will maintain their position, like defense. We don't know if he's going to change the defense minister. He has not announced it. I am leaning more towards the fact that he may change him, because I think if he wanted to keep him, he probably would have announced him earlier on, right? But you never know what the president is going to do, because one thing Joe Bucker has shown us is that he knows how to keep people waiting, right? He knows how to keep people waiting. But overall, on the issue of the money, I think there's a lot of question that needs to be answered. I think Chairman Luther Tape has some questions to answer. A lot of the folks in the Unity Party have some questions to answer. But let's wait and see what happens. I understand the inaugural ceremonies. The IAA is going to be auditing, because there's just too much question. There's just too much noise around this inauguration. This is the first inauguration that I see. There's so much. There's a lot of answers. I mean, there's a lot of questions than answers, especially with what happened. But it's good to be here, my brother. I think we'll dive into the conversation. We'll have a firm discussion about some of the nominees. I know people have raised questions about some of the appointments that he's made. But overall, I'm excited about some of the people who have landed in government, not for the first time, but landed in government at a senior level. Someone like Jerry Pia, I think I think he's well deserving of Minister of Information. He's a Harvard alumni. I mean, he's a friend. And not because he's a friend, but I think he's well qualified. Who else has he appointed? Amos Twe, I think. And I would say this, Tomalin, I see that Joe Boyka seems to be rewarding loyalty. He seems to be rewarding loyalty. When you look at someone like Jericho Bangalu, right, Minister of Youth and Sports, Cole Bangalu has been in the crosshairs when it comes to the Unity Party twice. He was asked to forgo running for senator of Lofa County. So when you see the president making him a member of his cabinet, I think that is loyalty being rewarded, because Cole Bangalu stayed the course. And I think he would make an excellent Minister of Youth and Sports. I think he needs to bring some innovation and some cutting edge decision and thought process to that job, because one of the mistakes that we make in Liberia is that we think the Minister of Youth and Sports is the Minister of Football. The Minister of Youth and Sports is not the Minister of Football. It's a larger portfolio, and that don't necessarily need to be occupied by a footballer or somebody who plays sports, right? So we're gonna dive into all of that, but it's exciting and it's great to be here, and I'm looking forward to having a very fascinating and frank discussion tonight.
Kev, good to see you. Yes, I know we talking about these guys. I would hope that we can just go by the list one by one, the names, and talk about that. I think there should be a whole lot in regards to somebody. Oh yeah, he bring a lot of experience. Like, I would like to know about the experience. I would like to what's get done the last. This individual have done the last 6-7 years in earning such senior level position in government. But Kev, welcome. Good to see you. Kev, today I was at a restaurant, an African restaurant, Liberian restaurant, and when I walk in, the discussion was centered on 350,000. They said that they have not even had the seat, and they already started to steal money from the local district, the poor people who wanted to use that money to just celebrate their share, of the inauguration that couldn't come to Monrovia. And when I walk in that restaurant, probably like 15 or 20 people, and you know how we talk shouting across the floor, but everybody seemed to be united on it was too early to start taking that money. Kev, what's your take on
Let me say hi to you guys. And want to say out to our people, share the show. Eugenia, she normally put our YouTube page up. She do a great job. She always kind of put a YouTube page, and I can see her there that just and go there. And if you asking for
Tell them to subscribe. Let them.
yeah. Thank you, Eugenia. You're always on top of it, doing a great job. But let me say this. Let me go. Let me talk about the his pick. I'm hearing my brother Ben say excellent pick and all that. Sometimes when you base your cabinet or you base someone individual success because of the university or colleges they went of the degrees and all that, I think we tend to miss it. We're missing the point. That's that little thing. That little thing, we're missing it. We have to look what these guys did. What are some of the things that we can count on them doing? That's little things that they did. Because the only thing I'm hearing, oh, he went to this university, this degree, oh, he qualified. But let me remind folks, Madam Ellen Johnson had a lot of qualified people with degrees, qualified people, smart guys, as in Liberia would say. Matter of fact, the first big five of Joseph Human Buckeye spent years with Madam Ellen. Can somebody tell me any difference in the lives of the people? Don't tell me, oh, she was elected for the second time and this. Let's tell me about the bread and butter. Tell me how far electricity went. Tell me. The people's lives change under Madam Ellen, the bread and butter. Some people will say, what about your government? Their life change? Oh, that's why they remove us, because they thought that the soul happiness was not met. That's why they move us. Fine. You took us from there. But again, you told us that Joseph Human Buckeye would change the lives of the people. Then you bring back the same people under Ellen Johnson's belief that their life would never change. Hey, maybe I know nothing, but you bring back the people. The only thing you can tell me that, oh, this he qualified. Look, his degree. Oh, Madam Ellen had those kind of people. Matter of fact, you see the Americans. You see Linda, a great face. You see the Americans. Oh, Madam Ellen spoke at Congress. Nobody in Liberia had bigger space than Madam Ellen in America. Matter of fact, she sat around the table of Donald Trump. That's how large she is in DC. She's big in DC. The lives of the people change. Lofa Julius. The lives of the people change with all those things that Madam Ellen Johnson, Salif, all that name. Matter of fact, Linda and Madam Ellen Johnson are best friends. They probably swallow fufu together. What happened? We still fantasizing. We're still living in the world of illusion.
Okay, let's move on, Kev. Let's move on.
I rest here, my brother.
All right, guys.
Are you insinuating that Ellen didn't do anything? Is that what you're trying to say here?
What I'm saying, the happiness of the people never met under Ellen.
So will you say the happiness of the people, and take it from somebody who supported your government? I mean, I supported the president for re-election. So I'm asking you, so are you saying the happiness of the people under WIA was, what are you trying to say? I'm trying to understand where
maybe you're not listening to me. I said to
no,
you,
I was. That's why I'm asking
I said to you, we were removed because the people felt that the happiness never met.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
They also told us that JMB would bring the happiness. But JMB,
no, I agree. No, listen, you answer my question.
JMB brought the same people. JMB brought the same people that the happiness will never met.
But some of these people were not ministers proper. So.
Oh, the big five, man.
People are not started.
They haven't even started. So how can you judge them? How can you judge them if they are not started?
You asked me a question. How can I judge them? You know, I grew up in United Pentecostal Church.
Jesus!
You know what they said to us? By the fruits we shall know them. The big five were under my island.
Stop saying that. You didn't grow up in no church. Why you keep saying you grew up in church?
Yeah. Anybody that grew up in Pentecostal church in Birmingham around.
Does anybody on it?
It is that we know that. We know that we're there.
But let's start. Let's jump on the topic. Let's start. I want us to just
nothing.
what I want to do, guys. What I want to do, guys.
I know the tingling in Tomalin legs, but let's go.
It's getting hot here.
Let's be honest now. Let's be honest.
It's getting hot here. What we need to do is.
Why is it true that we didn't support the people? But let's be honest, they have not started a job yet. Give them a chance.
Yeah.
And then you critique
to
them.
To be very honest here, I don't think it's time to criticize anybody for what they're doing. I want to criticize somebody that they're appointing right now. I'm not going to appoint them. There's nothing going to happen. Or nothing going to do. I don't think.
For me, let me say this. I would not say criticism, and y'all can come in. I'm all for critiquing the record.
Exactly.
But that's what I'm doing.
The record, and I'm not faulting Keff for critiquing the record. Some of these people did serve under the early administration, and some of them did not perform the way they should have performed, but they were not in. I don't know of anybody except a few, maybe Grisby and a few, like Roland Gillings, right? Our own friend Roland Gillings from the closing argument, he was here with us. I think it's a great appointment as Minister of Public Works. I think he's going to be very transformational. Some of the things that he talked about here on this show, we're going to be holding Giddings accountable. He's one of our own, right? I had a chance to speak with him today, and I told him very clearly. I said, we're going to be looking at you because you're one of the people who are on record. The good thing about us, right, Lofa, we got the records here. We know some of the things that Roland said right on this very show. It will come back to haunt them, right? Some of the things that he talked about, some of the criticism that he rendered. And so, but I think there is it's almost like there's a new, listen, when you see Kula Fofana as press secretary, when you see, listen, I gave something to Joe Buckeye, right? I gave something to him. Let me tell you what I give to him. He's taking risk, taking a lot of risk. And I'm not, and I think a leader should be able to take some risks. Don't play it safe all the time. Now, I do have some reservations on some of the names that I've heard so far, but I will say this. I am willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, not based on the notion that, I'm giving them carte blanche. No, it's not carte blanche. It's an opportunity to say, listen, they are going to do X, Y, and Z. And listen, I told Roland today when we talked, I said, the president said no car is going to get stuck in 100 days. That load on your shoulder. You the Minister of Public Works, that load on your shoulder. You better have a plan because guess what? We are going to put
Let me ask you something, Ben.
The other guys got to talk. I want to give everybody 2 minutes each to talk, Kev. We want to make sure everybody get 2 minutes, guys. Let's do it 2 minutes. Let's start with Tomalin and go to Julia, then Kev. We can come back to you. Then I want to just have time to talk.
Yes.
Dr. Peabody, I think what's his name? Henry has something to update us on though from back home that happened today. Can we just bring him in to just quickly update us?
Sure. Henry, give you about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Peabody. Thank you to the panelists and our cherished listeners. This is actually the crucial time, we care to know the happenings as they unfold. We're on today. It is not yet been proven, but we are also doing our own research to see our best or how far are we when it comes to the appointments to the various ministries. But on today, what we've been getting over the time, we have seen that Councillor Jericho Bangalore, Minister of Youth and Sports, but we're trying to do our own research before we flag it out with evidence to the public. And then we're seeing Councillor Kopa Doi Kura, Ministry of Justice, and we've also seen Mr. Jerome MPR, Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. And we also seen Madam Gbemin Horace Colley, Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Mr. Roland Giddings, Ministry of Public Works, Mr. Salif Taylor, Ministry of Transport, Mr. Bill McGill Jones, Deputy Minister of Administration, Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, Mr. Deput Zuo, Deputy Minister for Economic Management, Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, Minister Anthony Myers, Deputy Minister for Fiscal Affairs, Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, Madam Tanien Britson, Deputy Minister for Budget and Development and Planning, Ministry for the Finance and Development Planning,
But
and
so
Minister
But Henry, what do you want to? What
Henry,
point is?
what's the
Tudor
point of this?
General, Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. These are all nominations. They are all been. It's not even proven about confirmation by the Liberian Senate, and then additionally, the president has also nominated Emmanuel N. Reeves.
Yeah, but wait, but Henry, let me interrupt you there. Henry,
The Liberian Maritime Authority, and Jake Cabot Code, officers in charge of the National Oil Company of Liberia. These officers are charged with oversee that institution.
Well, Henry, what you trying? What your point now? What
Henry,
your point?
because we already got this thing information already out there.
And you mute it, Henry. So what's where your point? Get to the point. We gotta go after 5. You mute it, Henry.
I mean,
I'm not hearing you.
we already got his appointment. It all in the news there. So you just read. They're calling the name over again. But people, let's move on.
Okay, too many. Come on, you are coming on.
Yeah. First of all, again, what I would say is that I mean, the president made his appointment, and so far, I would say geographically, I think so far most of the counties are represented in his appointment. Okay, and these people that were appointed, most of them are new people. Like for instance, the foreign minister designate, Madam Beslow, we all know she served at the UN, and she'll be going for a confirmation hearing next week. The Justice Minister, Kupakra, he was a former transport minister, I think, and you got state. I mean, so right now, I think like Ben and everybody said, Peabody, we should give the people the benefit of the doubt. Let them go for the confirmation hearing. And I talked to some senators today, and they said, Tomalin, we're gonna be open. We're gonna be thorough. We're gonna make sure that all these people are given a fair chance to come before the Senate and Liberian people. We have open. If I can say, we'll do it publicly, open to the public, where we'll ask the people questions. Now, all of them who have been nominated, they already submitted their credentials to the committee's chair, and they gave copies of all the members of the committee. So next week will be an interesting time where they will be going for confirmation hearing. From there, they will vote and send it to the full Senate, and they will question them again. So let's give them a chance. Let them take their job. Let them go for a confirmation hearing. We'll hear what they're going to say. What will be the plan with the president's agenda, and from there we'll let them perform. And after the 100 days, people actually get in 6 months. So I mean, 100 days is always good to critique. We'll check for 100 days, and from there we'll see how we come and say, well, whether they're on the right track. But for now, again, the benefit of the doubt. They won election. I mean, and they got rewarded for with the victory. We should give them the chance to perform, and then later on we can critique them. But right now, we can't pass judgment on them. One of the people that are there, some of them being minister for the first time, and I see new faces among them. So we're not just come in and critique them and start to just and go after them. So for me personally, I think I've congratulated the ones I know. I congratulated them, the public minister, information minister, who are the press secretary, all the people who I know. In fact, Ralph Talon, I went to college together. Yeah, so I know him good. So I'm these guys have already congratulated them, and let's give them a chance. So for now, Peabody, that's where I am.
Oh, but Julius, okay, there are some names that came up, and it quickly rang a bell.
And then just to come very quickly, somebody would like to say, let them take a breathe in and a breathe out. After what we try to predict, we'll not buy more of them, but when it go wrong, we say they're wrong.
Yeah.
So,
but you're right.
Breathe out. Yes.
I agree with you, Henry. But is it? Judah, let me come to you. Then we'll go to Ben. Jacob Akali is related to the president. He's the nephew of the president, and he was appointed to manage National Oil Company. Judah, talk about that, Judah.
So let me first of all, let me start off by saying, honestly, I believe in chances, and I believe in giving people the opportunity to prove themselves. But I also believe that we are far behind when it comes to success and growth, and as compared to other nations. We really don't have much time. So while we sat back and watched for 6 consecutive years, the CDC government doing everything she did and the missteps, my expectation was that the preparation was being made in the back so that when that opportunity is given to you, you will come out here and excel at a very rapid speed. So I'm not here to give anybody any leeway. I'm not here to give anybody chance to say I'm going to sit and wait. The president have already shown to us that the issue of nepotism, being biased, is of course right in front of us. His nephew or close relative, Jake, Ellen appointed her son to Nokal. We know where it all ended up. Jake Kabakali is being appointed again to Nokal. What should we expect? Okay, this is where it all starts. This is where it all starts. We cannot simply turn our back to these reality. We can't continue to say, "Oh, let's wait." Another name that is being mentioned as an appointee, Kura, for Justice Minister. This is an individual who served for Prince Johnson. I had the will and pleasure of Prince Johnson. As a matter of fact, he is, I believe, as it was stated, he's a member of the MDR. Okay, we are asking for the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court.
He's the chairman.
He's the chairman. Thank you. He's appointed to serve as a justice minister, serving at the justice ministry. And you want us to sit and wait until he's appointed? Then we see what he would do. He will step in the way of the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court. We must learn to be proactive. We cannot always remain reactive. In this case right here, are we telling ourselves there aren't other competent, okay, and qualified individual to occupy that position, especially as a justice minister? What happened to the likes of Tewan Gongolo, the Massacre name that was mentioned, and all those people? Besides the fact that this individual in Kra, who is a member of the MDR, okay, serving a key position, this man is involved with so many other scandals that have been labeled against him. He was involved in a company that has so many accusations against him, and I have all of the articles here. If given the opportunity, I will read some of them. None of those cases were addressed. They are still under shadow, and no one is talking about that. Amin Modad. You
Yeah,
said,
look, but let's go to Chairman Ben. We'll come out to the other
okay, well,
names.
okay. Let me
2
end
minutes,
on
2
this.
minutes. Let's
Let me
get
end on
everybody
this
2 minutes to
quickly.
talk. Yeah, Chairman Ben, go ahead.
Okay, if you are, I guess I'll hold up on that part.
Well,
Yeah,
he have a couple of minutes. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I was just, and let me
30
just,
seconds. Finish.
Go ahead, finish, Lofa.
okay, in closing, in 30 seconds, let me say this. There were also asset declaration that were done. Let me congratulate Abraham Darius DeLon for being the first to declare his asset, but I'm also concerned about few things that were declared on his assets that I think he was misleading about, and it must be brought to the public for discussion. I'll stop at that for now.
Well, yeah, thank you, Lofa. Let's say this. Kupa Kra is the chairman of the MDR. From the intelligence that we've received is that the president wanted Massacre. What's the guy? The first name. What's his name? The guy's first name.
Jonathan Massacre.
Jonathan Massacre. Upright guy. I know Jonathan very well. Straightforward, upright guy. To be his justice minister, but I guess he was reminded that he was in a marriage with the MDR. Political, elections have consequences, guys. They do. When the Liberian people, or a slim majority of the Liberian people, made a determination that they wanted Unity Party to take over the reins of leadership in the country, they also were cognizant of the fact that Unity Party was in a collaboration with the MDR. Prince Johnson, virtually, you can give them some credit. I don't think if the Unity Party didn't do a collaboration with the MDR, they would have won this election. That's just the fact. Whether you want to hate Prince Johnson or not, and God in heaven knows, I have been one of the strongest critics of Senator Prince Johnson. I'm on record. It's all over the place. But you got to call a spade, right? This is the country that we live in. This is the nation that we find ourselves in. So I think Cooper Crabb becoming Minister of Justice, I'm still going to give the president the benefit of the doubt. He put in his inaugural speech that he's going to be setting up an office to look at the feasibility of setting up a war crimes court. I don't think the Minister of Justice is going to, if an office is set up, that is going to be squarely, right? What was this?
Yeah, man. Who putting these things up, man?
man.
Come on.
So if an office is going to be set up and it will empower, right, to seek the opportunity to set up a war crimes court, guys, I got to take this call. It's very important. It's on Liberia.
Okay.
All right.
And let's just say that. Oh, Tomalin, go ahead.
On a bad appointment now.
Yeah. But let me say this. Let me come to Kev. Some Kev is back. Kev, should the president be appointing his nephew this early to the National Oil Committee? And then Cooper Crabb, coming from Prince Johnson Party, does this tell us that the Work and Economic Crime Court is dead upon arrival?
When we read part of his speech that he talked about the War Economic Crime Code, sorry, I stated on the show that it was a good thing. We would support the president of doing that, but behavior counts. I don't see him going and forward with this based on the proximity of Prince Johnson. When Prince Johnson and his folks read the same thing or saw the same thing on his speech, they were upset. And they had a talk. And now we're seeing Cooper Crabb. But again, this war crime court is not the choice of a president, or the president cannot declare the war crime. He can recommend, he can send a communication, but it's solely based on the legislature. They're the one responsible for the establishment of the war crime court. They're the one. So we have to focus on that. But we believe that because of Cooper Crabb, we believe that JMB is not serious for war crime court. That is established. And in terms of Jake, let me say this. I will send this question to Tomalin. Since we were on another platform, Tomalin always say JMB will never, ever hire his relative.
I agree with that.
Tomalin said that. And I'm going to push this to Tomalin. If Tomalin can come out right now and condemn JMB that he practicing nepotism into our body politics. For me, I told Tomalin on air, off air, I don't have any expectation of JMB because I know I was privileged to his backdoor deals and all those things. I was privileged to understanding who in the government that he will ask for money, he want money, he will send his son Jojo. I was privileged to get all this information. I know all the information. I know when, I know the time, I know the dates, I know the seconds, I know everything. So I it's not strange to me. So I know he play games. I know he will come out and say something and in the back and do other thing. So my question to Tomalin, before my time finish, can Tomalin condemn? If you can give me that chance, moderator, for Tomalin to answer, if Tomalin can condemn.
Okay, let Tomalin answer quickly, and then we'll go to Professor Larry. Larry, welcome.
Is Jake a blood relative of the president?
Tomalin.
Jake is the family of the president.
I mean, is he a blood relative or he just a?
Tomalin Judge, you and I, 2022, you and I and Peabody, Ben, we were in JMB home. We sat on that table. We saw Jake. We know he's a family. You know that.
You a blood relative to the president, or he's just?
Oh, you want to do DNA now? So
Yes,
that's
sir.
okay.
I mean, let Kev
Let's
talk.
not go back and
You're the
forth with
man
this,
talk.
man. Let's not go back and forth with this, man. We got.
Okay.
No, you want to do DNA now?
Yeah, go ahead, Flo.
But let me say this.
It can be fast. Let's go to Professor Larry. We got to move on.
One of the thing that my man, you don't rush you don't rush
2 minutes.
discussion.
We want to get everybody a chance today. 2 minutes.
You don't
All
rush.
right, Peabody, what happened to you today? So what kind of host you are today? You just
I like what he.
Peabody not taking any mess today.
No, I'm not.
I'm not taking no mess. Oh,
No, but I like what he's doing. I like what he's
Yeah,
doing. We all need that.
your body.
Correct. But let me say this, Peabody. Let me say this. It's for people who normally believe JMB with their exploitation, feel like he would do. But we've been saying this for the past couple of years that JMB it should not be trusted, and now you guys saying it. But I want to discuss about some of folks like Bwema Kamara. When we go around, I want to discuss about Bwema Kamara. Is he fit? Is he the right guy? Because he was the last finance minister that our government worked in, and I want Larry to talk about that. He's a numbers guy, and let's see if Bwema Kamara did a good job. Because I see folks talking about the degrees, but let's talk about the record, not the degree. Let's talk about the record. So I will pause for now and come back. I want to talk about Bwema Kamara.
All right, Kev. Thank you, Professor Kennedy. Thank you for joining us. I'm sure you've been following the show and know where we're heading. We just saw the appointment yesterday, and one thing that caught our attention was the appointment of Jacob Okuli, close relative to the president, to manage the national oil company for now. Folks are saying
Officer in charge.
Officer in charge, but still he was appointed to be in charge. So whether officer or he was asked to be in charge by the president, folks are saying the president it's too early for the president to start appointing somebody a relative to that area. Guy, you're distracting her with all this.
Kev, stop.
Yeah,
No, not me. That Lofa doing it.
What do you have to say about that?
Not on me.
What do you have to say about that, Professor Kennedy?
Look, I think in every administration, especially in Africa, we'll always run into this issue of leaders putting family members or tribal members. I think it's going to happen. I think it's inevitable.
Larry, we never did it. Larry, we never did it. We never put our family.
George did not do it. Let's stand for George Weah.
Family member.
George Manuel Weah.
You sure George Weah didn't do it?
Yes,
No, he didn't.
yes,
No, he
yes,
didn't.
He did not.
I
Yes.
will defend George
No, stop. I can name one of the person now walking to the airport. You're deputy.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? In what capacity?
Deputy director to Wild International Airport.
Wait. Kev, wait.
She worked there.
Peabody.
Yeah.
Ben.
What position? Who was George? We have call the person name and tell me the position the person held. And was it a presidential appointee?
Her name was Sandy Glade. She worked at the airport, deputy for operation. That's his cousin.
Deputy for what?
For operation. That's his
Ben,
cousin.
the doc, let me ask Ben. Let me rephrase it.
Sorry, Peabody, stop.
You gotta be fair, bro.
I'm from
No,
You are
Georgia
the
now.
snap at joke, man. That's
Ben,
not.
you
Okay,
think you
y'all give Professor Kennedy a chance to talk.
Yeah,
No, but
that's-
nobody-
that's-
but
No,
nobody-
get
Larry
away.
started on a
nobody
slippery
like
slope.
to get, man.
Larry started on a slippery slope. You can't say it. He started on a slippery slope. We had to
Yeah.
draw him down. You can't. I would
Ben.
give no we had that credit. Yeah.
Ben, you think you know all the crew people out there? For
Man,
you to
so
say,
like, every crew member there to talk.
So we had every crewman he related to that.
of course, everybody from Southside all related. What's wrong with you, my man? All the Southside people related. Where you come
Okay,
from?
that's why I give it to you. I give it to you.
The entire Southside team. That one giant family.
No,
there.
we had never. I can go on the record. He never.
So the whole Southside thing, now the whole family he put in government, the whole Southeast, it's a lockdown, my man. Case closed.
Oh,
But look, let it
Today Friday, man. Today Friday. Good day.
That not concern me, my man. What I mean, forget the whole relative bit, but what does Mr. Kavakoli knows about oil engineering in that sector?
Thank you, sir.
We shouldn't spend so much time in terms of the relationship and all of that, but we're looking at a revenue generation, a place where revenue is generated, and how that can potentially impact the development in our country. So, can someone tell me what was Jake know? Does Jake has an engineering background and stuff like that? I mean, is this something that he can come into the oil sector, maybe make connections with people in the major oil companies and stuff to do exploration? So I would not even spend so much time focusing on the relation, but we got to look at experience. Because I think experience matters no matter where in the world you go. Experience certainly matters. So I would kind of focus on that and say, what? I mean, look, he's been a good, a close confidant of the president. Granted, he's got that on a lockdown. But if you're going to be in an important sector like that, my man, I think you need to have some background in that field.
Yeah.
And to Kev's point in terms of Kwame Kamara. So Kwame Kamara had spent he said roughly 16 months in that position. But I think what I'm noticing is who they're looking to bring around him to support him. So he may not have all of the tools in the shed, all of the tools in the warehouse, all of the tools in his tool belt. But if he brings some of the highly technical technocrats, people like I saw Depu Zo, who the guy know his economics in and out. So if Kwame Kamara and the JMB team bringing people like Depu Zo on board, I think that's instrumental. I think that's going to be extremely valuable because and two things. First of all, I would dissolve the gender ministry because that should be on the Ministry of Health. You don't really need a gender ministry. You need to kind of make the government a little bit more smaller, right? Because we know 90-something% of the revenue is going to recurring expenditures. Gender ministry should be done with. You should also, and I think you guys have been saying it, do away with the Ministry of Information, Culture, Affairs, and Tourism. You don't need that. So if you were to get rid of those two, you would end up having a little bit more money in the coffers, in the revenue, to spend on development stuff. Because you can't keep spending 90-something% of your budget on recurring expenditures. There's nothing left for economic growth. So that's a major issue. But I would say I would give Kwame Kamara a little bit of space, see who he brings around, and see how that's going to impact. But I'm looking at things like the National Oil Company, the produce, the Liberian produce, marketing, all those things that, what's the background of some of these folks in terms of experience in that sector? Is it too early to even criticize? Maybe it might be too early. Who knows? But on this thing of the Ministry of Justice, here's the thing. The Minister of Justice is such a critical person when it comes to economic development. Why? Because we know corruption erodes public trust. If people don't trust the government, they're not going to end up wanting to invest in your country. So if your Minister of Justice, he has a sketchy background, you're not going to have foreign direct investments coming to the country. And the second thing is, the War Crime Court thing is dying down. A lot of the people now are aging. Some people are passing, some people may have passed away. People don't have the same memory. If we're interested in getting this thing done, this is the time to do it. If you don't do it now, forget it. It's going to be too late because a lot of the victims, some may have passed away. Some may not even remember the whole situation. And by the time you establish this court, it's going to take about another few years or so. this whole thing, it's just going to be a waste of resources, waste of time, So I don't know, man. I'm looking at the appointments and I'm kind of on the fence. I'm kind of neutral on it right now. I'm kind of lukewarm on it.
So Larry, let me just say,
you were talking.
let me just say for the record, Peabody, I just got a text. That person is not George Weah's family. They're family friends. The crew people that Larry said, everybody say they're related, but there's no clear lineage. I'm actually seeing the message here, Jez, now from somebody very, very close who knows her. You know the person. I just don't want to call the person on the air, Peabody. But they say, don't try that thing anymore. We got to get Joe Weah that one. Joe Weah has not appointed.
Come on, man. I know who's calling that.
But let me say that. Let me say.
When I'm in talking.
But let me say this. I remember even in the beginning of Joe Weah presidency, there was one point they say I think two of his cousins or somebody were to the port or something. He removed them. He did. When it became noise. And you know how I know? People in the opposition raised that issue. This very Unity Party raised that issue. Listen, Jake is a friend. Larry, like you said, look, this is how Ellen trouble started. And everybody know me and my Ellen business.
But everybody be friendly with not critiquing your
body. But people that you the host or you the one to be you want
I got it.
You know you get it. People, you notice me. You know one of the reasons why I let hosting this show this now because I let her talk. But when you host it, then you gotta be navigating. Ain't no So I beg you.
Go ahead,
This is where Ellen trouble started.
I hypnotized the man.
This is where Ellen trouble started, right? Well, when Ellen announced Robert Salif, and everybody know me, I'm an Ellen Knight. I love Ellen. To Lofa and won't came in, but my love of Ellen sometimes Robert Gagwa, and they get, they say I just let trouble make us, so it's okay. But let me say this. You remember when Ellen appointed Robert Salif chair of the board of NOCA? What was the first thing she said? She said he was doing it pro bono. Those were her exact words. She said, in fact, the announcement said Robert Salif would be chairman of the board of NOCA, but he had pro bono. It would be at no cost to the Liberian government. And we know where that story ended. My brother Jake, my friend and brother Jake, who I know very well, he was there before. He was very close to Rob. In fact, Rob was the one who actually took him to NOCA, and they did a lot of work there together. So I don't know about him not having any idea on the sector. I don't know if he's a professional or an expert. But when you name an officer in charge, pretty much he's the CEO. That's the job that he's going to be doing until he names a proper CEO, which by extension he can choose not to name for another 1 or 2 years. You heard the statement. The statement was very clear. They will hold on to this position, and this was exactly the same strategy that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf used when she named Rob. Right? This is exactly the same strategy. So I'm just saying, when and I know my friends from the Unity Party, and I know Jake is a good friend, like I said, is this the attention that you want at this time? So those are some of the questions, and I'm trying to be very careful with my words here. I'm trying to be very careful because I want to know where they're coming from and how they're going, because there are 2 appointments that were made as far as officer in charge. Nuku Reeves and Jay Kabakoli, officer in charge of maritime, and Nuku Reeves, I have explicit confidence in. He's been in the maritime sector. He's in the system. He knows what he's doing. And I think if there's anybody who should hold on until the president appoints a CEO and a commissioner general, it should be Nuku Reeves. I'm firmly in support of that. Firmly, 100%. In fact,
let me get 1 second of your time. I beg you, Ben. I just received a message that that JMB's sister son, blood.
That's his nephew.
His sister son.
That's his nephew.
Blood.
That's a fact. That is his nephew.
Yeah,
so what I'm trying to say is, and like I said, I want to end on Nuku Reeves. I think Emmanuel Nuku Reeves qualified, knows the sector, knows the player. I think he is the best person for that position. I'm surprised he didn't name him Commissioner General.
He probably won't take it. He probably won't take it.
But okay. But what I'm saying is, I'm surprised because he's a steady hand. He's a steady hand. He knows the industry. He knows the player. That's kind of the person we need to kind of shepherd this process. But when it comes to Jake, it's a slippery slope. And I think the president knew that it was a slippery slope. That's why he didn't make that appointment. Because if he had made that appointment as CEO and president, that appointment would have gone to the Senate. And he would have probably had a problem in the Senate. You saw the post from Amara Conan today. That's another person I want to send a shout out to. I saw Amara Conan's post. Amara Conan's post was well in line. He reminded the president of his original pledge that his cabinet would be a reflection of the country. Every county will have representation on his cabinet. So far, I think there's only 6 proper cabinet posts left. It doesn't look that way right now. Let's wait and see. Gender balance also. So I do want to highlight that. And it's Keff right to raise this issue. Because guess what? I am trying to paint a picture, gentlemen, of George Manewia. I'm trying to paint a picture here of George Manewia appointing his nephew or his third cousin or a distant relative as officer in charge of NOCAL. I'm trying to paint that picture and see where we will be today. So what is good for the goose is good for the gander. I think the president needs to, it's already out there. I think his assumption is that, we'll just talk about it and we'll forget about it. But listen, I just want to remind President Boakai that this was the beginning of where Ellen trouble started from when it comes to the code of public opinion. And it's very important what the code of public opinion thinks.
But there are reports that, Lofa, coming to you, there are reports that he's related to Amin Modad. And we know that Amin Modad have a lot of financial issues, a lot of financial struggle.
When you say he's related to Amin Modad, how is he related to Amin Modad? I don't know that he's related to Amin Modad.
There are unconfirmed reports that Joe
Biden. But Peabody, I don't think. Let me just quickly before I have to do. I don't think Amin is. I don't know if Amin is related to Joe Biden. I don't know that. I'm not going to speculate that. I think Amin is qualified for that position. He's a Liberian businessman. He understands what it means to be in the private sector, and I think it's hard time. It's hard time that we need somebody who have the business expertise to head the Ministry of Commerce, who will be able to stand up to foreigners who are controlling
not heavily indebted to banks and other places to head that.
People who ain't indebted to bank in the work. I
think he's heavily indebted. He has a lot of issues when it comes to financial stuff to be headed the coming.
You get credit card debt, Peabody. You get credit card debt.
Well, I don't have Liberia debt. I'll pay my own. Go ahead. Go ahead, Lofa.
So let me start off. Let me start off by just going back to where I started initially. 2 things I want to highlight here is what we continue to play with, and I'm glad. I won't say this where me being not liking people, right? I'm glad I don't have friends in government. The only friends that I have in government, or the only friend that I have in government, is the one who came from having $3.50 and now a millionaire in 4 years. That's Darius DeLon. I think that's my only friend I have in government. So I can say this without any fear and favor that the role we find ourselves on today, all right, is terrible for Liberia growth. I see where Ben is trying to be politically correct.
Oh God!
Where Ben is trying to be, Ben is trying to, present himself like, look, this guy, friend and brother. This is why we are where we are, Ben. Whether he's your friend and brother or whether you went to school together or not, this is just not right for Liberia. We cannot move Liberia forward with this kind of behavior.
But Lofa, you heard what I said.
Let me land. You see, that's why I sat quietly.
I'm not
attacking you. What I'm pointing out here is where we fail to highlight our problem because of our affiliations. Okay, Jake is not and should not be considered for that position. You know this. Okay,
What did I say?
Ben, our emphasis on these topics, on these kind of behaviors, will only draw more attention to it. You're not an ordinary person when it comes to liberal body politics. But when you discuss these things and put the little bit of sentiment on there, I understand this, that these kind of things, it appears as though you just attempting to gloss over it for the mere fact that, yes, I spoke about it, I didn't agree with it, but he can do whatever.
What do you want me to say?
No, we must resent these kind of behaviors. Honorable Boycott should be the last person, Mr. Clean Hands, to come out here and appoint his son. Okay, I will consider him a son. What a nephew in our African culture, a nephew is considered your son. To come out here and start the idea behavior of nepotism, it is unacceptable. Then here we are talking about the justice minister. This man was found in illegal or logging company. We talk about the justice minister. Some of our allies, our friends who want to support the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court are telling us, if we sit and allow this man to get appointed, okay, not when appointed, but again, to the committee hearing, when he's approved, guess what happens? The possibility of the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court is literally down the drain. Okay? Professor Kennedy spoke about this. If we are serious about the growth, the success and progress about Liberia, we must start to hold these things high on our agenda. We must prioritize. And in order for us to move forward, we must hold people accountable. Accountability, transparency. Americans stand no chance to come out here and talk about what he will do when he's yet to declare his assets. Others are declaring their assets. Where's Americana and his asset declaration? He should be a prime example to declare and publish his asset. Where are we going with this kind of behavior?
The process just started, Lofa.
The process just started. Americana should be a prime example, like I said. We should not know. The process started. He could have been that individual to set the bar higher. Before he even heard from his colleagues, he should have been the first person to declare his asset. In fact, Honorable Joseph Numa Barker, the president, who is now working, where is his asset declaration form? Can he set this example for all of us? As a matter of fact, let me make it even simpler for all of us. The just recent incident that took place, the inauguration money was stolen. Are they going to audit those involved? Are they going to prosecute those involved in it? If you can even audit yourself, what makes you think you can go after CDC? The inaugural money, the inauguration money was stolen. There are names going all around there that people are talking about this. What makes you think they will have anything close to the audacity to even question anybody from the CDC about corruption? 3 days or going on 4 days, they have already started the corruption. Inauguration fund, they disgrace our country. And we're talking about all these kind of things as though it is friendship related. No, there are cases in Liberia who depend on your voice. There are cases in Liberia who depend on you to speak out for them and highlight these things for the public to be aware so that we can start the transformation process. I stop here for now.
All right, Tomalin, let's come to you, Tomalin George. We're talking about the appointee, but one thing I'd like to bring up here is, do you think Miara family and the Reverend Lutus Tape, because he was involved, should it be audited for the $350,000 that was given for the 73 district? They should set a committee to actually investigate. Since it's early and Liberian people are expecting everything clean, do you think it will be a good step to set up a committee to investigate Miara family? Because she always there criticizing people, calling them names, insulting them, and now she had to run a $650,000 budget for inauguration and it turned out to be a mess. Do you think they should be audited or something should be done? Some kind of investigation?
Definitely, they should be audited. And because prior to the election, during the campaign, they were on record attacking the CDC government, calling them thieves, calling them rogues, and all kinds of names. They should be audited. And we have a responsibility to be very aggressive when it comes to these things. Honestly, I will admit publicly, look, I was disappointed in the president appointment of his nephew, because he's on record in 2017 on a T-Max Jalate interview. He said that when he ever becomes president, he will never appoint any relatives in government. In fact, I hope to get that tape and we'll play it next week. I'm very disappointed because I mean, what is true that he's our friend, but to be honest, I don't think I didn't expect him to go that route because it's true. I argue with Kev about that issue, and on a serious note, to find out that he's his sister's son, I don't think. I mean, don't say something that you won't do. When you say these things, then when you come back to hunt you. So I don't think I support what that appointment. I think it's something that he shouldn't have done. We all know the history of Noka, with people's relatives being held in Noka. Ellen Johnson Sally's son, over $17 million was they can't account for it today. At the end of the day, she took the blame. She said, I took the blame for it. The only problem I have, President we should have gone after them to say, look, you took the blame, but we can't just let it go. Liberian poor money. But they gave them a free pass. So it becomes a cycle. People feel they can do the same thing. But I'll give credit to President Weah. He didn't put a relative. In fact, somebody imposed on his relatives at the port, and they thought they were doing him a favor. And he removed them from there. I gave him credit for that. But the way they started, the only thing is that he's not going to go for confirmation here. He's an officer in charge until he finds somebody to head that institution. But based on public pressure, as I see now, I'm sure he won't have that long time at Noka. I'm very sure. The public is aggressive. They are behind him for that. On other appointments, again, I would say this: look, politics is interest. When you campaign and you form alliances, you endorse people. People expect you to give. And all these people have the list. Okay, the UP alliance with MGR or Prince Johnson party, they got position they were promised to support them, so they are giving them. Even with the Liberty Party faction that broke up with Dillon and Yombly, they got people that have interest that they will submit to get jobs to. All the things we should be aware of it. They're going to happen. Again, we are on an obligation when they are appointed. The Senate, President Weah said something when they're talking about his appointments in government. He said, "Oh, you blame me? I recommend these people for you to interview them and you give them the job. So why you blame me for that? If they weren't good, you should have rejected them, but you decided to pass all of them, confirm them. So you don't blame me for it. They're Liberians. I get an opportunity. You guys had a chance to either reject them or not, but you confirm them. So and I agree with him. So right now, what's happening? I hope the president can take a note of what's happening and get his act together. And before I stop, let me congratulate Senator Dillon, Yombly, the pro tem Yombly, and Johnny Dansobe for declaring the assets. I look forward to see other senators and representatives declare the asset, the president and all, the vice president, everyone to declare the asset. It's very important. President Weah on record. President Weah was attacked. In fact, what he did, he declared asset at the last day of the deadline. He declared asset to submit it. So he was on record declaring asset. They filed they're talking to court. They want to know what in the asset, but that matter was inquiring. But he declared asset to the people of Liberia. So you should follow the trend. You should declare the asset.
Yeah, but we didn't see that asset. They didn't disclose.
Yeah, but then the law says
something that people cannot see.
No, but the law says that it's only called the Freedom of Information Act. You can file any citizen can file that for you can file it to founder. And lastly, this money is true. I'm going to ask the chairman of Unity Party. He's been accused of this money issue. I know the last time I spoke to him, he said that the issue of statement about the Liberian Post not satisfied. And Madam Famule, I heard Mary Bro attacking her. Mary Bro said she should give account of the money too. So they're back and forth going on. But we should not let it be. We should not be silent. We should still beat on them for this money. The money, where the money came from, and how they spend the money is important. So again, I'm disappointed with our appointment. Kev, on record, let me tell you this. I'm very disappointed that the president could make an appointment of his close relative to such a position. But again, we're not just be silent. We'll continue to talk about it. Yeah.
So let me read this press release that just came up from the IAA Commission Special Audit. They said the Internal Audit Agency has announced the commissioning of the special audit of the 2024 inaugural activities managed by the Joint Presidential Transitional Team. Making the disclosure at the press conference on Wednesday, Mr. David Kima disclosed that. So I mean that's where it stopped.
So now I mean they've been audited now. So now we watch and wait and see the audit report from it. And the thing is that not just auditing. If people are caught in the red, let them be exposed. When a person exercise political will and be decisive. I know they were on President we are back. He don't have political will, but they should not exercise political will to bring the people to book so that next time it won't happen.
And they also came and said that the check bounced, it was not cash, and just to find out that they did get the money.
I see her read the screen. She blaming CDC, the legislature for the poor, inaugural program. That's not fair. I know CDC government gave them the money, but again,
they gave them the money. She shouldn't be finding an excuse. She should be trying to address the mess that she put up there the other day at inauguration. But let me go to Keff. I go to Professor Kennedy. Keff, let's move on to Cooper Craw. Do you in any way feel that Cooper Craw, that Prince Johnson did play his card well by advocating for Cooper Craw to be the Justice Minister in terms of would that in some way avoid him from going to World and Economic Crime Court? Do you think Cooper Craw deserves that position? As I'm hearing, he has a lot of garbage. He comes with a lot of garbage on. Do you think he deserves that?
Well, one of Prince Johnson complained against our government because he wanted a certain position, and our government decided that we are not going to do the pay-to-play game with you, and because of that, Prince Johnson decided to look for the highest bidder. So he went to Cummins. Everybody saw it that he went to Cummins. We did interview him. I asked him about Cummins. He praised Cummins. He's a good guy and all that stuff. When he was trying to lobby with Cummins, that he couldn't see any way of his pay to play. So he went to JMB, and JMB played with him. They actually play. So by evidence of Cooper as a justice minister shows that they play. JMB play with him. So that's why a lot of people will say, well, he deserved it, but that some of the position Prince Johnson won in order to shield him, in order to use that position to go after people that Prince Johnson want to go after. Prince Johnson is not going to use the method of gone all those way. He's going to use the state resources. He's going to use the justice ministry to go after people. He said that in his church. He said after the inauguration, he told Sheku Kane, Sheku Sharif, he would go after Sheku Kane and Sheku Sharif. He would go after them. This are the area that he's going to go after them. So what you're going to be saying, guys, you're going to see a clamp down on freedom of speech. If you say anything about Prince Johnson get his man right there, will go after you. That's what's going to happen. Liberia is going to change. That country is going to change, and you're going to see a different face. That thing that people will say anything against Joe and say, let me say this to you guys, Larry. I remember one time people were saying stuff about Joe and Joe. I went to him. I was angry. I never said that before. I was angry. I said, Chief, people saying this thing, it's not right. I was angry. He said to me, I will never forget that day. He sat down. He had a tracksuit on. He said to me, we are a country of laws. And sometimes when I hear people talk about Joe, that's why I get angry. People don't know why I get angry. I went to him. I was angry. He said, calm down. We're a country of laws. You're not going to see that anymore. That's what that's what Prince Johnson get his guy there. You're not going to see that anymore. So when some of us come out and get angry on things, when people say this about George Weah, people think, oh, everything George Weah said, because I know. I was angry, like when they said this. So when they see me, sometimes I take the law into my hand and they attack people, and because I get angry.
But he always said to me, yeah, country of laws. That's the right. That's the right. That's what George Weah told me to my face. So, Mr. Moderator, I would say this. I would say this to you: the country is going to change, and it's going to change in a different style, and people are going to pray for that day that they have freedom on the judge panel.
Professor Kennedy, let's go to the economy right now. We see that the country now on a new leadership, and they just appointed the finance minister. If you were appointed to such position, what would be the first thing you will start doing?
Well, there's a saying that if you do not have data to back anything you're saying, you're just another person with an opinion. So the first thing I want to do is I want to collect a ton of information in terms of what the government owes right now, in terms of what the government owns right now. And then I want to start looking to see how I can bring people in with some Wall Street experience to try to see how we can raise money. One of the guys that I'm in a little chat room with, he just mentioned, Gabriel just mentioned that Ivory Coast managed to raise about $8 billion in the Euro bonds. Same thing like what Ghana did. The finance minister from Ghana, he worked at Morgan Stanley on Wall Street. Those guys are raising billions and billions. There's no way, absolutely. And I've never seen this, unless somebody can prove me wrong. No country has actually developed if you don't build a financial sector. It's not going to happen. But let me just take a step back for a second. What you're seeing happening right now is people are testing the president in terms of the fiasco with the inaugural, in terms of with the missing money or the kind of misappropriations or whatever the case. I don't care how you want to describe it. They're sort of testing the president to see if he'll be true to his word in terms of dealing with corruption. We know corruption is endemic in the country. We know we got serious issue with corruption. When you have the very first week, you have these kind of fiascos going on. People want to see how the president's going to react. And the way he reacts right now will set the tone for the rest of his term in office. If he steps up right now, they do the investigation, they prosecute somebody, they jail somebody, and they make them restitute that money. It sets the agenda. I mean, it sets the tone for the entire administration. People know he's very serious. Because the whole inaugural thing was a fiasco where I don't remember ever seeing an inaugural day that ended up in the way that it ended up. I haven't seen anything like that, But if he doesn't step up to the plate and take charge, he's going to have a long 6 years. It's going to be a long 6 years. In fact, if you take a look at what Prince Johnson has been doing, it's like he playing tabela, he playing football with all these different administrations that he can't be, he wiggle his way around. He tried to get on, I think it was the intelligence or one of those committees, and the U.S. government stepped up and said, no, you can't put this man in here because he would have privilege to intelligence information. So he was removed off some of those committees. He's been playing these games, trying to get in a position where he can get inside intel before the U.S. government or any world body comes in there to start talking about war crimes quick. So by him positioning one of his cronies at such a high level position, that is troublesome. This is the price you pay for winning an election sometimes, but it's a very high price. So all we're seeing right now, Doc, Lofa, Tomalin, and Keff, is they are testing the president on day one. If he steps up and lay down the law, you see how everybody will fall in line. But if he doesn't step up to the plate, people will start bending the rules till they actually break it. And then you'll have total chaos, So, but again, I know people are saying, let's kind of lower our expectations, let's kind of manage our expectations. People's expectations are high. I don't care how you rephrase it, paraphrase it, and throw the phrase out there. People's expectations are high because they have been longing for change for years. They've been begging for it. They want jobs. They want to reduce poverty. They want to improve the healthcare sector. They're sick and tired of government officials flying out of the country for healthcare while they sit there and suffer. So they want to see this change. So look, man, the president better hit the ground running. You got to fix the judicial system, fix the economy, and get rolling. But Doc, to the point, people are testing the president right now. Let's see how he responds.
Exactly. Tomalin, and then we'll go to Lofa. And then Keff.
Look, Peabody. First of all, let's not forget. On Monday at 1:00 our time in America, the president will be giving his first State of the Nation address. That's to Larry's point. That will be his most important speech since his presidency.
Yeah.
We pray that he will complete that speech. We pray that because people are still saying that they owe them for the inaugural speech, but that one all in the press. Forget it. But we look forward to the president on Monday at 4 p.m. our time. In Liberian time, which will be 1:00 our time in the States on the East Coast. He'll be giving the State of the Nation address. He'll be telling Liberian people in the world where George Weah left the country. President Weah said in his final farewell address, he said he inherited our foreign reserve with $94 million, little over $94 million in our foreign reserve. He left $222.7 million in our foreign reserve. He also said when he took the country 2018, he made $7 million in our consolidated accounts where we pay our taxes and revenue and salaries are paid from. He left little over $40 million in our account. So we believe that the Burger administration will be able to pay civil servants for January. Looking forward to that. So President Weah left the country. People can criticize what you want to say about him. Left it in good shape. Now the finances, he left it better than what he made it in terms of finances in the account. So now on Monday, because don't forget, when election ended, President Weah immediately set up his transitional team. And for 90 days, the Burger team and the Weah team met. They had a cluster together where they were meeting and comparing notes and where the country really, where we are as a country. So by now, they have all the information that they needed, and they will tell us on Monday how much money actually was left in the account and where they are starting from. And he will also tell Liberian people his agenda for the first 100 days, where he intends to take the country. So we pray that they don't make the speech. I mean, that speech is usually long, honestly. The last time Weah gave his State of the Nation, I think it was more than 3 hours he spent. I think, or less than 2 hours. He spent, you all know he had to drink water and all. So hopefully they will prepare the president for that address on Monday and tell the people of Liberia and the world where we are and where he can take the country. We look forward to that. So that's one thing we'll be watching on Monday. But again, like we said, Larry said, the government, they need money to carry on most of their projects. And again, see, when you're campaigning, you make a lot of promises. And I think the Burger, the UP Alliance made a lot of promises. They overpromised the people to the extent that we got my friend Keff and Lofa there pounding on them already. Pounding on them that they must deliver. Yes. And I want to be a little liberal to say that, look, we'll give them a chance. But again, I think the president, when he said the 400 days, no car will get stuck on any major highway. I went through Liberia. The road that for the first time in Nimba, well, we are the one that paved that road, but the Chinese boat stopped along the way. But and then you saw during the campaign, and then again, I think he said a few days when we met the Kisipo, he said that he would not. When he was campaigning, he had to go through Sierra Leone to go to I think to Africa or something, to go to one of the counties. So it won't happen again. So I mean, it's not an easy thing. He got a public minister, our friend Roland Giddings, who are deputy on Ellen. He's there now as minister proper, and so we look forward to what will happen in the next few weeks. But again, next week, starting from Monday, after the State of the Nation address, we will watch out for the confirmation hearing. It will be a lot of showdown because some senators say that some people. So once you told me today, Peabody, he said, Tomalin, and I think already up front, certain people will be rejected. I will vote no. I said, why? He said, I'm telling you already. I already got evidence to vote them no. So we'll be different from the other Senate. We'll to see. So that's what happens.
I think we'll look to the Senate to do that. Yeah, go ahead, Larry.
Ask Tomalin real quick. Tomalin, real quick. We know that we're talking. We know they have the whole arrest thing. Roads, all built in it. And where do you think they're going to get the money from to fix roads? It's not. Roads are expensive to fix. You know, over in North America and most of the European countries, when you fix roads, you put toll booth on it. That's how you generate the income to pay for some of those roads. We don't have that stuff in Africa or in Liberia like that. In your wildest dreams, where you think they're going to get the money from to build roads? I know President Weah got some of the money through World Bank and IMF loans. That kind of took the government to the brink in terms of their debt to GDP ratio, in terms of the risk of being at default. Loans, external debt under Weah is actually increased tremendously at the risk went down. The amount of money they're paying to the IMF and the World Bank, it's a lot of money. And even I think it was it November or so of last year where I think they missed a debt payment.
Yeah.
And then their account was frozen. Yeah. So where I would love someone to just kind of tell me where they're going to get the money from to fix these roads.
And Larry, just answer that question quickly. You know, I'll look at our raw data, right? Do you know that for the 6 years Ellen was 12 years she was president, domestic revenue they collected was around $4 billion. And we are to get it to his credit again. We are in 6 years, they doubled the amount of money in domestic revenues. That's why they let Thomas Doe now, peace to his ashes. He did a very good job. He was aggressively mobilizing domestic revenue. And mind you, when Baka was vice president to President Salif, they had a lot of direct foreign investment. They got on there. They had a lot of money in the country. So as a result, most people were carried away during the campaign that those days will come back, thinking that. But I told them, I said, well, sometimes you don't understand. Baka is not Ellen. And during Ellen days, you have a lot of international, multinational corporations in Liberia. So our money was coming. But now we hadn't had to struggle to reach that point. Then the IMF came with that program, and the IMF put it on a plan where our credit card already maxed up now. So far, I think. So as a result, we pray that. But the guy he just made LRA, the guy who took Thomas Doe now place, I respect him very much. Double Jala. I think he'll do a good job. But we pray and hope that it will meet up to pay their salaries and so forth. Because
here's the other half to what you just mentioned to me. I'm sorry, Doc. Last one. Here's the other half to what you just mentioned. Let's say President Weah did a tremendous job. They collected $6 billion, but around $5.4 billion of that went to recurring expenditures, paying salaries, because the recurring is so high. It leaves very little for development, building roads, building schools, fixing the healthcare system. That's why so many of the universities were in deplorable conditions. That's why the healthcare system didn't develop at the pace of other countries in sub-Saharan Africa. They raised the revenue. Granted, I gave them that. But a lot of it went to paying salaries, not to development. That's my major concern. That's what I'm always like trying to figure out. Okay, I know how other countries have done it. They've been very successful. I know how Ghana did it. I know how Africa is doing it. I see how Gambia and some other countries are doing it. But Liberia hasn't really done that in the past 25 years. So is it going to start on a boycott now? They're going to be able to mobilize revenue, or they're going to bring investments or raise capital in a different way? I'm hoping. I'd like to see.
The budget, they sent it back to the executive now. The budget that we have submitted to the legislature. They sent it back to the executive branch now because they said the budget we have priorities. So now Waga got own priorities. So the budget has been sent by the $600 million budget to send it back. So let's see what happens.
And you know what's too money? I think roughly 30 or 40% of that is based on grants and loans. You're betting that you're going to receive this grant and you're going to receive, it may not come. You know why? Because the U.S. that gives a lot of these grants and loans, they're engaged in too many shenanigans. They're trying to get money for the war in Ukraine and Russia. They're trying to get money to send money over for Hamas and what's going on in Israel. They have this issue in Yemen. They have all of these proxy wars. They have attacks happening in Lebanon. So the U.S. is focused on spending U.S. taxpayers' dollars in other regions, and it may just be donor exhaustion right now. And it may not be looking to Liberia because they're giving so much money to Liberia over the years. And the needle hasn't moved. This final point. The former Vice President Jewel Howard Taylor was on the closing argument. What was that, last week or so? She said something so profound, which I knew because I did a research on this for years. She made a statement. I don't know if people picked up on it. She said a lot of the money that the U.S. gives to Liberia, it turns around and leaves Liberia because it's foreign NGOs that come and do the work and they send the money right out.
Yes.
So the grants and loans you're looking at in the budget, it doesn't stay in Liberia. The NGOs, they turn around and take that money, boom. If you look at the outgoing remittances, the money leaves the country. That's why Liberia hasn't, the needle in Liberia hasn't moved. You need somebody with a totally different mindset to come and figure this thing out and get it done. Back to you, Doc.
Yeah, Lofa, let me come to you. The chairman of the United Party just was on another station. He just made a comment that the $350,000 that was misused for the 73 district came out of the Unity Party account. 350 grand came out of Unity Party's account. Now we all know,
But
like
they could
somebody
not
said,
pay their rent, but they could not pay
right.
their mortgage or rent.
Take over from there. Take over from there. Take
But
over
they
from there.
couldn't. The 300. You see the level of deception and what I would consider thievery that we have already started to experience. This is what I'm talking about. Before I even get into that part, let me just say I just got notification that Madam Sarah Beslow would like to appear on the closing argument. So if we can follow up, her team mentioned if we can follow up to grant her the opportunity to come on. I think it would
Absolutely.
be.
If you want a special show
Yeah,
tomorrow,
I think it'd be a great idea to have her.
but the guys
have
will
her on.
discuss it. We'll discuss it.
But anyway, you guys, yeah. But let
No,
me
we got
say
a
this.
special show.
Yeah, let me say this. In all honesty, that statement alone should have all of us here just overly infuriated and upset to the extent where anything Honorable Boyka say going forward, it should be put under the microscope and let the people react to it accordingly. The Unity Party took 300 and something thousand out of their account when they were kicked out of their headquarters. Not once, but twice. Disgracefully, they had to go to court. And you telling me, in my right mind, that I'm supposed to believe it? You know what? Thank God I am not educated, but I know darn well I did not eat my school fees. I know that fight. Okay? I'll say this to you, Tomalin. Based on Honorable Boyka's footsteps, it is obvious that he had no plan. Last week, and I use this analogy quickly. Last week, I was opportune to sit in on a screening. All right, we're bringing in new engineers, and I had to lead the technical part of our screening process. And all along, I had complained about contractors that would come in because I didn't feel like they were meeting the technical attitude that we were expecting. So I complained about that a lot. So now that I'm opportune to sit in, I didn't go back to my supervisor to ask for his questionnaires. I did not use his interview style. I drew out my questionnaires. I have my interview style that I used because I knew exactly what I was looking for in this person, this co-worker of mine, where he will actually compliment me when it is needed. Those are the things I'm looking for. When you look at Honorable Boykai's decision that he's making right now, he's playing off of Ellen's playbook, but he complained about Ellen poor leadership, that he was not given the opportunity to serve as he expected to. But he's grabbing her playbook, using it to the fullest. People who worked with Ellen, people who ran and walked with Ellen are the ones he's now bringing in to serve in his cabinet. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? He did not come with anything new. He appeared to be unprepared. Okay? We cannot sit here and say we are willing to allow another 6 years. 6 years of our lives to go wasted because we want to be in sympathy with our colleagues. We want to be in sympathy with people whom we hang out with. The Boyka administration, they promise us and they must live up to their promises. One thing that I have tried to live with through my life is under promise, over deliver if I can. I would not promise you diamonds and gold when I know I don't even have $500 in my account. If I promise you to go to McDonald's for lunch and I take you somewhere else, then you will respect me. But if I tell you I'm taking you to Applebee's or somewhere else, or steakhouse, and then I take you to McDonald's, you lose respect for me. In this case, we are gradually getting there. Nepotism started, okay? Handing over of the entire country to warlords, corrupt individuals, alleged individuals who have been involved in scandals. We are on the terrible, terrible track to make Liberia a better place again. This in itself states that probably in the not too distant future, Liberian, like Keff Hassan said, and I don't want to agree with him, and that's the reason why I'm doing everything possible to make sure that he's proven wrong. Liberians will cry for President George Weah if we are not careful. I stop that.
Kev, I want you to come in here, but I just got confirmation that Amin Buda is actually the nephew of President Joe Boakai, sister.
There you go.
I just got from very, very reliable. Kev, go. It seems that nepotism is creeping back in slowly. So,
of course, nepotism is creeping back slowly, and that's why some of us at this moment we will. Some of the document that I have privilege to that I wanted to show that on Abimboda on the FIB bank, I will make sure I give it to the senators that who going to interview him and do that. So some of the senators will have that information. So I hope he knows that. But let me say this. You said Luther Tapper said on another station, right? It come from their account. There's something in basketball, in American football. If there's a player with a hot hand on the 3-point, back there used to have Reggie Miller giving Indiana with 3-point, they always go to him 3-point. Even if a wide receiver always there in the end zone, they used to have a guy used to call Plaxico of New York, a Giant. They always used to go to him back in the days. They're talking about the 90s to the early 2000s. Guys, I'm talking about, right, Larry? That playbook that Unity Party use, they will always use that playbook. They will always do, because they realize that the people who voted for them don't have the mindset. They know they buy their foolishness. They know that. You think what his name Luther Tapper is a stupid man? He's a smart man. He's an intelligent man. But they're going to that playbook because they know the people doesn't have that mindset. They cannot make informed decision. The people that voted for them cannot make informed decision. So they're going to use that playbook. And guess what? He will get away with that. 300 and something $1,000. You'll get it like Lofa said, you can pay your rent.
You're getting 50,000.
You're getting in your account. They're going to use that playbook.
Yeah, because
the human mind. Let me tell you something. And if you lie to somebody and that lie keep on going, that person keep on buying it, why change? Why change? They realize. Let me tell people this. In the back, your guys, they will laugh. We'll sit with them. They will laugh. They will say, "My man, your business." We will soak it to your politics in the back. Lofa Julius, I used to call you there. I say some of the things that they're doing, they're going to come in this name. I used to call you, right?
Yeah.
I used to call you. I said, watch out what they're doing. They're going to change certain things. They're going to go this way. I used to call Lofa Julius. Because the Liberian people shows that voted for them, the people that voted for them shows that they don't have that mindset. They cannot use their own brain, people will say, "Why are you talking to people like that?" Because that's what they did. That's what they did. If Luther Tapper can say out of that $300 and something thousand out of their account, and they went to court to pay, and they kick them out, and people buy that because they cannot make informed decision. So they're going to use that playbook. So the reason why I talk about the basketball, I talk about the American football, I talk about that, even soccer. The reason why with Chelsea always go to Drogba playing for Chelsea because you put him in that 18, he will score. So they always use it. They always use him. They always use him. So that's what the Unity Party is doing. They know that the people will buy their lies, so they will always go there, and they will always go there until they become unpopular. But for now, the guys are relaxed. They relax. They will go there. Peabody, they will go there.
But you know what, Kev? It's too early to start making all these lies.
Yeah, but Peabody,
I told you, I want to go to Chema
yeah,
Ben.
but Peabody, I beg you, let me answer. To them, they don't think you see it's too early to lie. To them, they're saying we're going to use this playbook. This playbook is working. So it's too early because you can reason out. You see, it's too early. But the folks that voted for them, they will insult you because they believe Luther over you. Until they become unpopular, they will get away with it.
Chema Ben, yeah. I mean, Kev, it's too early. 365,000. You say you took it from your bank account. Man, people need to start and be. I mean, people got to be careful because when it comes to money, people can put integrity and they start lying and stuff like that. But that's too much money, and I feel Liberia will never know where that money came from. Maybe some offer for something, we're not going to know where it came from. But I know the Unity Party did not have that money. They really did not. They didn't have it. So, but it's too early. But Chairman Ben, let's go to that statement that the chairman of the Unity Party just made, that the money that was given to the different counties, 73 districts, was from the bank account. I want you to chime in that, Ben. I want you to talk about that.
First of all, let me say this. It's very listen, I can't even believe Luther Tapper said something like that. I'm just shocked that he would even say something like that. I think that statement alone disqualifies him from even holding any position. If Joe Boyka was even thinking about appointing him,
yes, sir.
I think he probably just shot himself in the head, not in the leg, in the head. You know. But let me say this: a couple of things I want to before I jump on that. I'm going to come back to that, but I want to say something. I know Lofa brought up something about the whole Jake thing, and I know you moved on when I left. Look, I was very clear. My analogy I was drawing, it's not that I was saying I stand with what Tomalin said. Joe Boyka did say that he would not appoint family member in government. In fact, that was, like I said, that was what started Ellen's problem. You remember Ellen was doing well. Ellen was the darling girl in the country until her second term, until when she brought Rob into the picture, or towards the end of her first term when Rob came into the picture. Whatever the situation is, she stated that she brought Rob because she needed the capacity and she needed somebody she could trust to go to Nokal. Given the fact that he has sent his nephew to Nokal in itself is troubling, and I'm very clear about that. I was talking about Amin, and I was saying that I didn't know that Amin was his relative. I just don't know that, right? So, and like Peabody just said, somebody confirmed to him that that's his relative. If that's his relative, it is also concerning. It is also concerning because at the end of the day, he said he will not do it. Like Tomalin said, don't say things you don't intend to do, right? So he said he will not do it. So listen, and popularity and political capital is a perishable commodity.
Yes.
If Joe Boyka doesn't know that, he should go ask George Weah. George Weah got elected president of Liberia with probably one of the most popular mandates since Charles Taylor. I don't think no other president came close to Charles Taylor. Because Charles Taylor was what, 80-something%, almost 90%. Next to George Weah, next to Charles Taylor. I'm talking about contemporary democracy. I'm not talking about Totman years where Totman used to put his one on the ballot and everybody go vote for him. I'm talking about competitive democracy, right? You saw how fast the Weah government got into trouble. Very, very fast. And it was because of all these little small mistakes. And I keep warning my friends on the Unity Party that you think Weah had it bad, or you think he had it tough. You are now governing, and it's something I always used to say to President Weah, even in tons of the videos that the Unity Party used to put out there when I got upset with him and was saying it. I kept saying to my friend, you are governing a country in the 21st century. The things that Totman did, it don't fly anymore. The things that Doe did, it will not fly anymore. You are governing a country where these things are the most powerful tools. These things that we hold, the thing that I hold in my hand right now. The average citizen is now a journalist. All they need is this thing right here, right? So it is the Unity Party's prerogative to make their bed, and they will lie in that bed. If they think, because for some reason, if I was in the Unity Party's, if I was in this government's war room, because they should have a war room, they should have a strategy room. You don't win an election by less than 17,000 votes against an incumbent, a very popular soccer star or celebrity incumbent, and take power and act like you have a solid governing mandate, right? Liberians, like I said, voted for divided government. Look at the national legislature. They don't even have control of the national legislature. So again, like I said, for Luther Tappert to even have the audacity, for them to even have the audacity to say that $350,000 was withdrawn from the Unity Party's account to give. Listen, heck, he could have said partisans from around the world raised that money. That probably would have been a stronger statement to make, right? Taking into consideration.
You can't think of those kind of positive.
Well, I'm just saying, right? You could have said, listen, our partisans raised the money, and so it will still raise some questions because people will say, but why did 350,000? You mean they couldn't raise 350,000 for you to pay your rent, but it would have raised 350,000 right after you won the election? But for you to say that, hey guys, don't pee on my leg and tell me that it's raining. This is not the way Joe Buckeye wants to start his presidency. Mr. President, if you're listening to me, you don't want to do this. This is not the way you want to start. You have an opposition. You know that one of the things that hurt the CDC, and this is my last thought for Robert to come in. One of the things that hurt the CDC a lot was that the CDC was dealing with an opposition that had been in power. They were dealing with an opposition that had been in power, the Unity Party, combined with all these other opposition parties that had not been in power but wanted to come in power. The coins have just flipped. That all has happened. The CDC have been in power. They want it. In fact, the way they lost it, they're not even happy the way they lost it. Then you have other opposition parties who are now, especially with the way the people voted, guys, the people voted almost like there were two-party states, right? Two-party. So everybody forming different alliances. This is not the way you want to start your presidency. And by going on maybe a friendly platform or a platform that you think propagates your message and you make that kind of silly statement, watch what is going to be the headlines on Monday. And guess what? The Americans, Larry always talk about it here. If you think the Unity Party dodged Magnitsky in the first administration, they dodged it because Magnitsky was not the law. There was nothing called Manisky. The Unity Party dodged that for 12 years. Guess what? You now have Manisky. You also have an addendum to Manisky that empowers the United States government to go after. And your government is every day begging America for money. You want MCC, that the people taxpayer dollar. If you start on this trajectory, I can see, and they used to be waiting every Wednesday, International Corruption Day, for CDC list to come up. I'm sorry, listen, my friends. Y'all ask the people who've been on sanctions. You will understand that this is not the way you want to start. So I think the president needs to the president really needs to think hard. He needs to really think hard. Yeah, he really needs to think hard. This is not the way you want to start. And I think Luther Tappe literally shot himself in the head. What he said today was a total indictment. I said on the show the other day, I said, where did this money come from? This is the question that I think that the question that people started asking.
You might have heard it, yeah.
That the question that people started asking that forced him to say the foolishness that he just said. And he may have just been saying the truth, because at the end of the day, Joe Bucker said he gave him the money. But I'm just sorry. I think this is
Robert.
This
You just
is
joined us, Robert. Come in, Robert. I think you've been following the conversation.
Thank you.
Just joining from where you.
Thank you, Doc. And I saw the picture, your first Christmas in the U.S., man. Amazing picture, man. It goes way back.
Yeah.
But look, Ben, I think that they should write you a check for advice. I think you're giving them free counsel yet. And from all indication, your name is not on the list. So you should be writing a check from that $365,000 for this kind of advice. But you keep saying, this is not how they want to start. When the reality is, this is how they started.
I know, right?
This is exactly how they started. It's not how they want to start. This is how they started. When you have a government, first of all, there was this PR stunt about why the inaugural budget was not over the CDC inaugural budget. And they said that it was because they did not want to do any flamboyant inaugural, and their interest and their focus was to rescue the country, that they were being sensitive to the needs of the people. Now you have a $650,000 budget, and the general public, given what occurred at the inauguration, still don't know fully how that money was spent, on what that money was spent. There's this back and forth, and there's this finger pointing that's going on within the inaugural committee. I think the other day, Miss Miata said that she gave another person $10,000 for entertainment, because one of the things that we missed here was that if you didn't notice, there were no entertainment at the inaugural at all, other than the choir singing. No artist was paid to come and sing. It doesn't have to be a rap artist or whatever. No porn was given. Nothing of that sort. So the question about a full release as to how this money was spent, I think that's a legit question, because this is not Unity Party's money. This is the government money. This is the Liberian people's money. So when you talk about this is not how they want to start, this is how they started. Are we going to get a detailed report as to how this money was spent, dollar for dollar and cent for cent? Look, when you talk about transparency is not just a word; it's a verb. You've got to act. You can't just say, I want to be transparent, and don't act. You have to do things that shows that you and your leadership won't be transparent and honest and truthful with the Liberian people. So I'm still waiting. Look, Change happens when leaders act differently. You can't get it any other way. When there's a new sheriff in town, that new sheriff announces himself. I hate to make this analogy, but I'm a Manchester United fan. I'm a big Manchester United fan, and everyone knows that for the past 15 years, since Sir Alex Ferguson left, we've been down, we've been sinking pretty much. There's been no great decision making as far as our football is concerned. But guess what? We had a new sheriff in town. And you know what he did? The very first appointment he made, Signer, and has satisfied all of us. He appointed the guy who came from Manchester City and who have been part of that success on and off the field for the past 10 years. So you can see that this guy is serious about changing the dynamics. You can see he's serious about changing. It's no business as usual, right? What has Joseph Boycott and his team done that signifies that they're serious about change? That's one aspect of that. $365,000. How can you spend $365,000 to ensure that the purpose for which that money was disseminated and distributed were actually used accordingly? Remember, we have been talking about lawmakers collecting over $30,000 for what we call constituency visit. Not a single one of them have given a report. There is not a single institution. In fact, that money should not be given to them directly. There's not a single institution to verify or vet whether or not these guys are actually going out there and spending this money for whatever reason, right? And then you take $365,000 as the new government, and you say you're giving it to representative for folks in different counties to celebrate. How many of these celebrations did we watch? What entails these celebrations? There is no accountability yet. There is absolutely no accountability. You know what? For once, I concur with Luther Tappet. Ben, I don't think Luther is a politician. He's a gospel preacher.
I know, right?
He's a gospel preacher. He's not a calling me. Somebody was calling me. Please stop calling me. I'm on my phone. Luther Tappet is not a politician, so he don't know how to speak politically correct. He does not. No. I believe, indeed, that money was withdrawn from Unity Party conference. The question is, who gave them that money? Because you raise a very good point, and others have begun to ask this the very question. Unity Party, for many years, as the opposition political party, Larry, could not afford to pay their rent. They were in delinquent of that rent. People were raising funds to pay that rent. This is not a party or institution that had these strong financial records in the past. So suddenly, the president has $50,000 to donate from his own behalf of his family himself. Where did that money come from? His personal account? Suddenly, Unity Party has $365,000 withdrawn from their account. Who gave it to them? And if the president gave it to them, who gave it to the president? These are all valid questions. But let me close so the other guys can come in. This is the way Unity Party have started. It doesn't seem to be this cohesion. The other day, I saw Amos Atwe issue a statement on his Facebook page about no additional appointment made after Amara Corning came out before the press conference was released, basically congratulating someone who was nominated or who was appointed. And there were people who were mad at Amara Corning. Why is he speaking on behalf of the party and the government? But why are you going public with all of this stuff? Why are you doing all of this? So it speaks to the point of, was Unity Party prepared? They had time. Were they prepared on day one? And I want all of us to answer this question. From everything we've seen so far, can you say that Unity Party was prepared on day one? For me, it doesn't point to preparedness on day one. Have they succeeded on day one? And I mean day one from the inauguration. And those Every folks who running around talking about, oh, the government didn't do what. Look, the inaugural committee was not controlled by the government. The inaugural committee was controlled by the incoming. The government provided the funds, so this was all on them. Were they prepared on day one? That's a question. I don't think they were. Thank you.
Obviously they were. I don't know, but when these kind of small city, it just show that big one's gonna come up, and then especially the chairman of the party is going out there on situation saying he had that in the bank account. Man, he can't be lying to people like that. Chairman Topic, but too many. Welcome on the Gongo. Welcome. Before we'll go to Tomalin, and then we'll go to Larry, and then we'll go to Mr. Gongo. You've been following the show, Mr. Gongo. You've been watching. We've been talking about nepotism, and you probably can define that for us well here. We talk about Amin Muda, who then confirmed as the uncle, as the nephew of President Joe Biden, will be going to the Commerce Ministry. We talk about Jacob Okali, who have been appointed to manage Okar until they appoint somebody, but he's managing that now. But we went back to Joe Biden's statement that he made some time ago that he would not have any rotating government. In fact, he criticized President Ellen Johnson said, and now we are in a new day. What the folks say? Old wine in new bottle. It's starting a lot of old wine going in some new bottles. So, what will you say about that? And then we'll go to Mr. Gongo. Yeah.
Well, look, you talking well. Welcome.
I already spoke to that.
Okay, let me give the Mac Genius the chance.
Yes, yes.
Professor Gonglo. And the guy who decided LRA, that one of the guys he said he respect a lot. I know that.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a little friendship here, right?
No. Yeah. So I'm on public record of saying since I left government in 2011, I was assistant minister, and I left, and I said to myself, I would never work as a deputy nor assistant anymore in public service in Liberia. I can only be deputy or assistant to Double Jala. That's the only man. At least I work within in many respects. And besides, we both studied mathematics and we enrolled at the university together. We have a very good relationship. So we understand each other. That's the only man I can work with as his deputy because he brings so much integrity on the table. But I saw government at my level, and I don't want to be part of that unless I'm heading the entity because I can transform that entity the way I want it, yet in line with the law. But there's an interesting discussion. I was on FOL last night. We're debating this whole transitional thing. My take on it is because I think about maybe 4 different information that is out there. The one from Mo Ali with $5,000. Then the representative from Grand Crew talking about what $25,000, little change here. Then there is the issue about there was it's not confirmed whether the president said that the president said he raised the money. So there's different layers. So my thing is it's good to actually do an audit of the transitional process. And part of the confusion here is we don't have transitional laws on the book yet. As to when the person is elected, we argue on this show before. I think Ben and I agree, on the issue that once a person is elected, declared winner, and you are receiving protection from state security, state resources have been spent on your activities, then the code of conduct should come in play. And, but it's not clear. It's not written anywhere. There's no transitional law to say when you are elected and declared, transition start right here. All the applicable laws begin to take full effect. There's nothing like that. The code of conduct does not even address that. The code of conduct is addressing people who are acting in this official capacity. Before the president or the senator or the representative elect is inducted into office, those the code of conduct guard their activities. So it's an issue. So I think the best thing to do is let's have an agreement that the GAC will audit, because there are public funds. All the money that was given officially that can be accounted for through central bank encashment. That okay, the government gave this much to the transitional committee. Let's have an audit on that process, okay? Because there are different information that's coming, and if need be, maybe NEC can come. Does NEC still have jurisdiction over people who have won but they have not taken seat? The expenditure they're making between them before they take official seat, is it part of electioneering activities that should be reported to NEC? I mean, those are questions we need to debate, you know, because 2 million people get elected and people come to you knowing now they want to have influence when you take office. They start making offer, give to you. Oh, congratulations. Here is a little brown envelope. And that is not giving just like a gift, a free gift. It's a gift with expectation, with something that when you take power, I will be visiting your office. I want this kind of treatment. So I think we need to debate this and see maybe the new legislature should actually have a statute on transition. When person is elected, what is the transition process to gather so we can avoid it, because our democracy is developing. We've had one in 2000. Okay, 2011 was not a transition. Salif succeeded or said, but even as that, there was an inaugural program, there was an inaugural committee, right? So we need to have a law on transition, on how it will work, and even those who can serve on that, the statutory ministries and agencies that will serve on that. And I mean, we need to actually put this up to the new legislature to debate it.
So do we need a law before we do what's right for a financial report to be done on every event or on a major event such as this? Do we need a law to do that?
So Robert, here is it. People will write in a report, you know, the week Did we spend more money on the process than what was officially allotted from the government cover? I think we did. I think people gave more money. There were more donations. I suspect that. How do you account for those? But if there is a transition law governing the process and how it will be accounted for, if somebody raised money from private sources, I guess it will be captured somewhere, somehow, you know. But as it is, people may not report everything they receive. And donors may not come forward and say, hey, we contributed to this. I'm very sure business will contribute to these transitional activities. How do we capture that? We need to have a law or report a law that requires people to report what they receive. They receive donation from private companies, from private citizens. It should be reported. So when it is not reported and it becomes known later, maybe 2 years later, that will give. This is a check. We'll give to the transitional group. What is the penalty for that? We need to have all those things documented, because that's how we're gonna. That's some of the ways we can fight graft, corruption. Because
all right.
Yeah.
All right. We kind of running with time. I'd like to give everybody the chance to at least take 4 or 5 calls. But one of the things we criticize President Weah for is that he was running the presidency from his Jamaica resort. They criticized him. He was not going to the office and all of that. Larry, now we see the president since Monday. We know he had some, heat stroke and all of that. But since Monday, the president has attended other functions, but he has been strictly operating from his home. Don't you think it's a bad start for him? After we criticized President Weah, he was one of those. The president appeared on a lot of video and other thing. We're talking about Jamaica resort and what all of that. Now he's doing the same thing. He has not even gone to the mansion since he took it.
You can hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it looks like some glitches in the internet. But let me touch on a couple of things real quick that Robert mentioned. So important. I don't know if it's me, my internet, or I keep seeing these glitches. Let me touch on a couple of things real quick that Robert mentioned and what Mr. Congo just mentioned. You know, one of the things that George Santos in the U.S. proved, he proved that people can abuse campaign money and people can abuse election laws. But what it turned out that you can abuse it, but you can't get away with it in America. right? And we're talking all this asset declaration. Maybe it's time that, political parties start declaring their assets, because people would like to know where some of them are getting some of this money. If you go to the U.S. Federal Elections Commission's website, you can select a state, you can put the district, and you can see exactly how much money that political party or that candidate has in their coffers. It's because of election money, or because of money coming to political parties, that so many people got in trouble. The Reverend Jesse Jackson's son in Chicago, he got in trouble because he was using campaign money to buy fur coats and go on vacation. You see what happened to so many people using election money. But like what Robert mentioned, if you claim that you do not have money to pay your rent, then all of a sudden you start producing money like water. And especially if you end up doing like what my man Doc said on Wednesday, give into a slippery character, you're going to have issues. People need to start. I think Mr. Gongo is right. We need to refine the campaign law, because when people start showing money that just seems to be manufactured out of thin air, there's always something attached to it. What are you dealing with people during campaign time, and you end up after election to give sweet positions to those people? Those are all things kind of tied in. It makes the whole election, the whole political system just look kind of bad. But I think despite of where the president may be working from, I don't think they should just focus solely on just putting out just names right now for the administration. There's nothing wrong with you putting out a few policies right now. Maybe he's waiting to put it out during the annual message, but you can put out some policies to let people know where you're heading, what direction you're going to be taking the country. So you can, like my man Ben like to say all the time, you can do two things at the same time. You can walk and chew gum at the same time, right? So don't just sit home and, or just say, look, we're going to use the first 2 weeks to just start making nominations. No, definitely do something else. And let me close on this real quick, Doc. And this goes to the point that Ben made in terms of how people get in trouble. Madam Sirleaf got exposed and got in trouble when she was interviewed by Katie Couric. This was in 2016, right? Around the time with Ebola. And she thought that all the things that she did made America love her so much. But the first few questions Katie Couric asked her was, people have criticized you for nepotism. You put your sons in these different positions. Madam Sirleaf tried to dodge the question by saying, it was under her administration that the Liberian economy grew. But the Americans weren't concerned with that. They were concerned with the nepotism, the corruption, and all of these things that were taking place in your government. So despite, I would look, if I were advising President Boycott, I would tell him, look, if people are testing you right now, you need to come out with a strong, strong statement. Make sure something happens with this money that disappeared. Because if nothing happens, the people will say that business as usual, that nothing has changed. And the optics again, whether it's your nephew, it's your close confidant, I don't care who it is. Maybe you can wait if you want to put them in a position, but as your first team going on the field, you start doing exactly what everybody else have done before you, then there's no change. Then it's continuity of the same endemic corruption system. Change the game. Stop playing the same old thing, because you said you were going to do this and now you're doing something else. And the big problem is, I've been saying this time and time again, December of 2016, the whole Mac missed Ellen's administration, but it grabbed George Weah with the sanctions. Now they have put this other new law in place because why? Joe Biden said corruption is a threat to U.S. national security. So not only now you're going to get sanctioned, your people can still be caught for corruption and prosecution, rather. They can still be caught for prosecution. I'm telling you, man, the game has changed. Stop ignoring it. So let me not take up any more time, Doc. I just wanted to mention those few things and piggyback off of what Mr. Congo said and what you guys have been saying, man. Maybe we need to
Doc,
start
really looking
at where
Yeah, Ben, go ahead. Yeah, Ben, go
30
ahead.
seconds. I don't want to see 30 seconds to buttress something Larry said. And Larry, you were absolutely right. I've always said, when Joe Biden took over, on his first day, he signed 19 executive orders. On his first day in office. In fact, I think he signed it in the president's room at the Capitol building, at the Congress, the Capitol. There's a room there that the president goes in when you finish taking the oath of office to sign your papers, he signed his executive orders there, 19 of them. How do I know? I was watching a documentary the other day. I was astonished. He virtually, it was to undo a lot of things Donald Trump had done, right? He could have waited for the next day. He could have waited for the next week. It still was going to go to happen, but he was trying to send a strong message that as a new sheriff in town, we're not banning Muslims from coming from the Arab world to our country. We're not banning people, like all the craziness Donald Trump had done, right? His point was, I ran for president. In fact, I had no reason, I had no idea, I had no intention of running for president. I only ran for president because I saw Donald Trump. And my campaign was based on the soul of this country, reclaiming the soul of America. That was what Joe Biden said. Well, a lot of our friends in the Unity Party compared Joe Biden and Joe Boycott. That's what that was their campaign they ran. They literally said Joe Boycott was the Joe Biden of Liberia because Weah was messing the country up. Those of us who supported Weah, we didn't like the country. We hated the country. In fact, how dare you even think about not supporting Joe Boycott? Because Joe Boycott was coming to rescue this country. And by the way, he had been vice president. So he knew the job. He knew exactly what to do on day one, hitting the ground running. We had the fainting gate. Kevin, that's fine. I can give him one day. You have faint gate, right? Where he there was this issue about him fainting and the heat stroke gate, whatever we want to call it, right? But the next day, I was one of the person who I think Peabody who raised this issue on one of the show and talk about him not going to the mansion. And I said, well, maybe it was because they were moving furniture, a lot of things were happening, so.
I said it, and you said they were.
You said it, right, Lofa? Exactly.
You said they were under construction.
I said, oh no! I said, to their credit, they're probably moving furniture. They're trying to get it. Hey, but it's been a week, guys. It's been a week. Good news, George. We have fixed the mansion. The mansion is there, right? It's there. There are certain things that you don't, optics is so important. So important. When you want to send a message, you take advantage of the moment in which you are and you send that message. This whole nonsense about the 385,000 or 50,000 or whatever thousand, this is the same thing we used to beat on George Weah about. Not seizing moments, not taking advantage of the opportunity. I remember when the rice crisis started, we beat up on George Weah, said, fire the commerce minister.
No, we said go to the port. We told him
go to the port. Remember? We said, get in your car, go to the port, show some empathy. During the campaign, people, even though I supported Weah in the second round, one of the qualms that I had with the Weah campaign was that I felt they did not show empathy in the country. They did not acknowledge the pain. While people were talking about suffering, all they were doing was, we pay road, we pay WAS fee, we did this. Look, there's nothing wrong with saying, listen, I know things are tough. I've been your president. I am concerned. And guess what? We are paid for it. He paid for it. Because the Unity Party ran a very smart campaign. They said, harmonization, even though we all know the harmonization, that's the other topic that the people are getting ready to start next week. I've been told. The people I got to start talking now. You're about to recast this budget. You better raise our pay because your campaign that you're going to raise our pay. You said we are harmonize our salaries. And so we harmonize a presidency. Now we give it to you. You got to raise our money, right? All of these things. My fear is the president. My fear is I'm beginning to wonder if this man is really up to this job. Because there seems to be a vacuum here. There is not a captain that is steering this ship. When you have Luther Tappe coming on and saying 350,000 king out of the bank account of the Unity Party, and you have the president saying, I will give 5,000 to each district, and I'm watching the lawmakers today saying, well, we didn't get it. So the money Unity Party took from the account Why would Unity Party take money from the account and give it to lawmakers that are not even Unity partisans? Why? This money, if the president of Liberia wanted to use executive power to say, let everybody enjoy the inauguration, guys, he could have worked with the outgoing president and said, listen, let's take money from the budget and give it to our people in the counties. That's fine. Well, maybe there may be questions. But for the Unity Party to say this was the money, and then I got lawmakers, CDC lawmakers in the house saying, but where our own? Something is not right here. Something is not right here. Joe Boyka does not want to start within his first 100 days with scandals. And that's what this is where he's headed. This is exactly where he's headed. I hear the IAA saying that they're about to commission an audit of the inaugural funds. Listen, that audit is not going to be what Joe Weah used to do. What they say when they do investigation, we hear about it again. This is the 21st century. This is the social media age. People are going to be... Unity Party encouraged protests in our country, guys. They did. Joe Boyka attended the June 7 protests. He did. If you start having people saying, where are what 385,000, where are what this is not what you want, especially knowing that you're a government that is coming and you need all the help you can get. When your number one partner and ally has made corruption and public trust the cornerstone of the relationship with you, again, Mr. President, you need to take charge. You need to take charge. Arrest.
Listen.
No, Ben.
You know,
Ben,
I 1 minute. Listen.
I want to commend Ben for using 30 seconds, 7 minutes, and 7 seconds.
Oh, no, 7 minutes. Wait,
let me
let me talk to you. We gotta go around. I'll start with you. We gotta go around. I'll start with Tomalin. We'll go to Professor Gongbo, Lofa, and then Robert. But yeah, Tomalin. It's just been 10 days. Yeah, go ahead.
For the record, because somebody just told me, say you guys cannot. We are doing due diligence. I've reached out to the chairman of Unity Party, Chairman Tape, and I've sent him a message, and I was trying calling him, so he's aware that I think he's watching the show. I think because he just got online. So I think that so we reach out to him. We extend an open invitation to feel free to call the show or whatever the case to come and exonerate himself. We will be fair. We are very respectful to each other here. So, and one thing I want to say quickly is that somebody was telling me that, look, the American delegation that headed by Linda Greenfield said, don't mind all that sweet talk she said about America get confidence. But guess what happened? This particular issue about this $365,000, they're already watching it. Their eyes are on already. They're going to see what's going to happen. They're already watching it. So they can tell you in diplomacy, they'll use good flowery words to you, make you feel comfortable. We saw it when in fact, when we had took over, the Assistant Secretary of State, Thomas, the guy that came here with some congressional delegation that came to Liberia, everything was fine. They came to the Capitol Hill, they met with senators.
And the congressional delegation that went for the bicentennial awarded, give McGill certificate.
Give everybody something. At the end of the day, what happened? They slapped them with sanctions. So, mind you, they gotta be very careful because they'll be watching them, and this money is important because. And now, Chairman Tape, if he's scheduled to get an appointment in government, now because of this money issue, it will be
imagine his confirmation hearing.
All will be not enough. So I pray and hope that he comes forward to clear himself.
It's not even 5 days yet, and you got this going on.
Party or so, yeah.
It's not even 5 days.
He should come forward to clear his name because it's important. Right. And now, right now, there's a controversy. Is he, Mary Bro, and Miata Formula on the money issue about the $650,000 inaugural stuff, all going on right now. So, look.
Less than 5 days.
And like Ben was saying, this will be the most scrutinized government. Joe Weah went through it. Look,
don't wonder why we are considered the way he considered.
Joe Weah hit the ground running. he will honor attack. In fact,
We have to say I'm out of here.
where they Ben has Joseph on man and all. Poor, the largest protest in Liberian history. It came forward, and because of that, the government they went to their knees. So again, the Burger administration, they're on obligation to make sure that they respond to these things when the crown comes up, because it's serious. And Liberian people I know right now, they will not let these things go down. They will talk about it every day. In fact, the senator was telling me today, says, look, confirmation hearing starting for next week. They're going to be open. The public will be there, watch the confirmation hearing. They'll open it to the public. And I can tell you, people will be here with their placards telling them about issues. And some of the senators too, they know what happened to their colleagues that left the Senate because of this same thing. What they used to do in the past, they will go to executive session and say, oh, the person is confirmed. But no, it's not happening anymore. You don't want executive session. If you are caught up in a dragnet, you got to face the Liberian people. And I will pray that the president, in his wisdom, if the red flag in the official, he should be able to withdraw, reconsider the recommendation and withdraw it. But again, guys, look, we won't have much time, so we'll take advantage of it.
Yeah. So let's just go around, Lofa, Mr. Gungbo, and Robert, and then we'll go to the phone line. But one thing that's trending, I don't know whether you guys have talked to anyone, but there have been some issues. The tag team is really pissed right now that nobody from that team have been appointed so far to a position, and they are really rumors I'm hearing.
Look, let me
rumors.
That Peabody.
Go ahead.
No, not Peabody. Let's be real to ourselves here. Those were volunteers.
And they did it for the country.
They did it for the country. I'm not wasting my time on anybody who volunteered.
Somebody even worked to get a job.
No. They told us they were volunteering the services in the interest of Liberia because they wanted to rescue a country that was in dire need.
Thank you. They want to support Joe Boyka.
Okay?
They want to support him on
in dire need of good governance. In this case, if I had the opportunity, I would take a bottle of palm wine to my uncle's house and thank him for actually bringing people that he trusts to get a job done. This is not how loud your mouth is on the social media or how much you are on a campaign trail that should be considered as a reward with a job or something of that nature. No, I'm not
going to. When the campaign start again, they should volunteer again to support the
volunteer service. That's patriotism, and we encourage every Liberian to be a part of the process. You see, Ben volunteered his service to support President William.
Exactly. Thank you. You see me crying about
how can you prep with
let me just say this, right? If you allow me, please. I want to play this. I want to play this Yeke Koluba video shortly, and I'll be done. Please allow me. Please. I just want to play this Yeke Koluba video from the house. It's been trending, so I think it's only fair for people to watch this. Here you go. Okay, I will end on that note and just highlight a few things here. Joseph Boyka, and I quote, okay, for the sake of cultural value and respect for my uncle, Yeke Koluba, I quote Yeke Koluba, Joseph Boyka is a rogue. He's a serious criminal, Yeke Koluba. This is a man who supported Yeke Honorable Boyka with his funds. He supported him in whatever way, whether psychologically, physically, and you named it, okay? he supported Honorable Boycott in the House, in his office. He referenced Honorable Boycott as a thief. I'll stop there for now and I say, guys, we would love to hear, and we should give people the opportunity to contribute to tonight's
Yeah,
conversation.
right after Mr. Gonglo and Robert, and if Larry got something to say, and then we'll go to the phone.
Thank you. Just quickly, I want to make a few comments. First, I know Yeka is a fantastic guy, but I actually don't agree with his approach most of the time. You know, I mean, guys, let's face it. This is the president of the Republic of Liberia. You know, I mean, for the office of the presidency, we should show some deference and respect for that office. So I don't agree with Yeke calling him role or criminal and what have you. I mean, without proof, you know. So there are indications pointing fingers at the Unity Party chairman and what. That's why I call for a full audit, right? But on the tapping issue, I have a little experience on this, and I agree with the sentiments most of you guys expressed here. In 1997, I actually served on a committee, in fact, as the organizing chair of the group that petitioned Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, drafted her basically to contest in 1997. When she lost the election, people felt she had connection with the UN, she had money, this, that. She was calling people to Meswagon office, right on Broad Street. And she called me. The former AD Jeremiah Heenan, sent for me, said, Madam Sirleaf wants to see you. And I went there. She was just getting ready to go to Corman, to our village. And she said, Gongo, we didn't win the election. What will you like for me to do for you? I said, no, madam. I feel insulted. I didn't support you because I wanted to do something. I thought you would be a better alternative to the country than Charles Taylor. That's why I supported you. So to ask me what I would like for you to do for me, I feel insulted. I did it because I felt convinced that you are a better option for Liberia than Charles Taylor. That's why I did it for. And I walked away. She was astonished. Later on, Jeremiah, he met me, I think 2 weeks later, and said, the madam was surprised at you because people in your age group are coming to her and getting prayers from her, and you rejected it. So I think the top team, you should show courage and integrity on this one. If they supported President Bouaka because they felt he was a better alternative to the country than we are, they should walk away and don't even look for a job. You know, I would say that. On the inaugurating the back and forth between Mirabro, Miata Fomble, and who is it? What is the third person? Mirabro.
Luther Tappert, the chairman.
Here is what I was saying. You know, I'm disappointed in Miata Fomble. You know, there's one thing that the Fomblers are known for. They speak out. They are tough talking, right? If there is anything with this process that Madam Fomble was not satisfied with, I believe she would have spoken out. To be speaking after the whole thing has failed, and she takes a responsibility because she was an overall chair, I think she's just trying to save herself. But it's too late, because when the history of the transition, the inaugural committee is written, her name will be written in the book of failure. And that's just a fact, okay? Because this is the first time in our history during the transition that the key person that the event is organized for has to suffer from or heat, I don't know, should I say heat stroke? Lack of better expression. From heat exhaustion or something like that, right? And who contributed to that? Miata Fomble. My understanding, they didn't even have water on the stage for platform guests. I mean, do you need a government to give you money for that one, Madam Fomble? No, because Mirabro was just supporter in the process because she's from GSA. But you are the key person. Just as others will blame we are for what went wrong under his administration, we blame Madam Fomble for this. And she must take the responsibility for it. Okay? I will stop there.
All right,
Thank
Robert,
you.
quickly. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So let me start with Yeke. I was reading a post from Hassan Fatiga, one of the Fatiga's brothers, in which he warned Yeke Kolobat, and he said basically in summary, let me tell you something, Joseph Boakai is not George Weah. And my response to him was, you know, it doesn't really matter who you think Joseph Boakai is. Crazy is crazy. It doesn't matter who the victims is. And so when a man, a representative, a public figure, when he denigrates not only the office of the president, and we embrace that, when he disrupts the people's house, when people should be making sound argument and debating the issues on behalf of the Liberian people, when he stands on a car and wears shorts on his way to work, and all of these different outbursts, when we smile at them only because the victim is a political leader that we do not prefer, then you must be careful. You must be careful. Because the same folks who embraced Yeka Koloba when he went at George Weah disrespectfully are today frowning on the very same Yeka Koloba for doing similar to their preferred leader this time. We've got to be careful. I may not agree with Joseph Boakai on many things policy-wise, but Joseph Boakai is my president. We are talking about the office of the president. And you can say that you disagree with how funds are disbursed. You can talk about the manner in which the government has proceeded. But to just disrupt the House of Representatives and call the president of Liberia a damn criminal, court, and a rogue, an embarrassment, the way he did. No, everyone have the right, my friend Lofa, to disagree the way they disagreed. But as a public figure, the approach matter when you got children watching you. We on this platform are indebted to those that listen to us. We gotta conduct ourselves a certain way. You can respectfully disagree. You can be fierce in your disagreement, but also respectful to the office, to the person, to the individual.
So Ralph, give me 10 seconds here. You know the reason why often it is said you don't teach old dogs new tricks? Excuse me? It is because when this started with George Weah, we sat, and I include myself, even though I disagree with Yeke's statement, I include myself in it to say we sat and watched Yeke address President Weah the same way he started with Honorable Boycott to this. So let's be fair. And
So this is not.
That's a good thing.
So let me land. Thank you. So this what we're saying right now is unacceptable. It was unacceptable then, and it's unacceptable now. These kind of behavior must not be embraced or encouraged. On the president working from home, look, on the first day, I mentioned, can we say that they were prepared on day one? On Obama's first day, even though he was still appointing and making appointments, he already knew he had a clear idea of what his government would consist of. He already knew that, okay? Because they won the elections months before the inauguration, right? You know what he did on his first day? He wasn't making announcements about who his cabinet members will be. He signed executive order and a memorandum to make government more open and accountable to the American people, because on the campaign trail, he said he will be transparent and open to the American people. He took that action, and for the whole week, that was headline. So this whole idea that the office is not ready, the executive mansion is ready. The office of the president should be ready. They should be part of the function of the transitional team to ensure that the president can go to work on day one. But even if the office was not 100% ready, the message and the optics matter yet. The president will wake up in the morning and go to work to send a message that I have no time for excuse. I'm here to do the people's work. We didn't see that. Lastly, Doc, when Alex Cummings' $70,000 got missing, we made this a national.
Brilliant. Yep.
The $70,000 came from the pockets of a multi-millionaire man who has worked hard.
And you know the other people say he might investigate it.
No one gave him the money. No one donated the funds to him. It came from him. But I saw people on the Unity Party camp who were calling for a thorough investigation, and those who questioned whether or not Alex Cummings did represent change.
Yep.
Yeah, the very folks.
Thank you for that. Thank
you,
The
very folks. You $360,000, $50,000 from the pocket of the president, and we should not ask where the money came from? Are you kidding me? Speak about double standard and show me minute to politics.
It is. Larry, quickly, and then
It's gonna be a long
we'll
6
take the
years.
full calls, and then we'll be done.
30 seconds. The office is not the presidency. The individual is the president. The office doesn't have anything to do with it. You can still work no matter where you are. Like what Robert said, when Obama came in, he was just entering the financial crisis. That's when it was just starting. He couldn't wait until his office got painted to go to work. He got right in and started laying out some policies to stop and hit the financial crisis. So don't wait for the office. Put out the policies right now. Let's see what we got.
Okay, we take full call, Lofa. I know the kids.
Sure. You want to take the calls from back home first or here?
Let's do it here first. I think.
Okay.
The kids.
All right. So we got callers on the line already. Let's take caller from 515. Last four is 0351. Caller, your name and where you calling from. You got a minute, please.
Okay. Good evening, gentlemen. I appreciate you. My name is Success A.B. Dennis, and I call from the Des Moines, Iowa.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I want to thank you guys for the show, and I want to also say greeting to Professor Gonglo. It's been a long time. He opposed my employment one time at the Labor Ministry when we were then Assistant Minister for Administration. I can still remember, and he was right at the time because I was not qualified. So thank you for being professional and standing by, some good ethics. But this is the point I want to make. Reverend Tape and Yeke, those two people, like Keff said, those guys are playing to the tongue of the Liberian people. This is the reason why Yeke was re-elected, because he insulted presidents, he insulted the office of the president, go beyond the president, insult the president family member, and he being hailed and celebrated for that. Yeke was never re-elected to the Liberian Senate, or the representative, because he fostered good laws, he put in bills, he spoke well or no. Yeke was noted for the tough talking and abusing of our state office. So Yeke is still playing to that same game. No one has called Yeke to order for the time he started with George Weah. Today people are saying the order of the president need to be respected. We all agree. But when did we start to acknowledge the fact that the office of the president need to be respected?
Thank you.
I didn't hear, Professor Gonglo making an article on the social media or making the print media to make what he's saying today. So again, thank you guys for giving the time. That's the point I wanted to make.
Thank you. Let's take the next caller here. Caller from 202. 202-2214. Your name and where you calling from. Let's hear from you. Caller from 202. Anna.
Yeah. Hello.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Lofa Julius. This is Brigable Power.
Go ahead.
My brother, Timon and George, thank you so much for the show. I beg you, don't feel that I attacking you, but sometimes when you do some stuff, we have to say things that is not correct. Because I trust your ability to
attack the man. Go ahead, talk.
You have to come to say stuff that not some big things. I listen to my brother saying, oh, Yeke is this, Yeke is that. The president elect or the president in power made Yeke to be Yeke is that, to be Yeke. The president ordained Yeke, the president gave glory to Yeke. When Yeke is talking, the same thing he wanted to be president in. The president started Yeke by himself, there on the pulpit. The Yeke started the president several times, not one. Many occasions. Yeke take the whole street and black the whole street. The whole broad street, the whole street on Capitol Hill. Yeke black the whole street. The same people were clapping. So if he's discussing that issue, I think when you say on the contrary, then you guys are not fair. Yeke say what he said is true. The man said when the man say the man money from, they should bring it. They should spend what they say money from. You don't know Yeke, how you have been saying. You then coming on with anger. So if you want to say contrary Yeke now, then you're not fair.
Thank you.
Yeke just here to go that route and we'll support Yeke.
Thank you.
It's our representative in our government. Our can be more than Yeke.
Thank you.
More than Yeke,
that's why we didn't. That's why we didn't vote you in. Thank you. Call us 6090724.
Two more calls. I mean, you gotta
We
go,
got three more, and that's it.
Three more. Okay, yeah, three more.
Yeah. Call it 6090724. Yeah, Neiman, where you calling from? Let's hear from you.
I got one call when you're done, yeah.
Hey guys, how you doing, man? This is David Conner, man. It's great to be here, Lofa, and for all of the panelists, you guys are doing a marvelous job for Liberia. But there is a topic that I think you guys were just on the periphery of it. You didn't delve into it, but it's very cardinal for the survivability of our country. And that has to do, one, with the appointment of the Justice Minister under consideration.
Yes.
Vividly, if you can recall, just in, I think, October or September, if I'm not mistaken, the nominee in question was serving as the Post and Telecommunication Minister under President Weah.
Mm-hmm.
But his loyalty and his respect wasn't to President Weah, but rather Prince Johnson. Predicated on that, he attended an opposition rally that led to his dismissal. That was just indicated that he was answering to Prince Johnson's demands, not the President of the Republic. That's one. Two, if Mr. Johnson was not allowed to serve as chairman of the Security Committee on the Senate, why should a country allow his hand-picked protege to serve as a justice minister when in fact a justice minister is going to be the chairman of the joint security of that country? Mind you, Prince Johnson is trained. That's his specialty. When he served the armed forces of Liberia, he was trained to be military intelligence. So his concern is to control the security apparatus of that country. So it's important that the scrutiny, forget about whether this man contributed to the decapitation of President Doe, but just the fact that the loyalty of that nominee is to Prince Johnson is concerning.
Yep.
That's one. Two, you talk about nepotism. If you recall, President Walker is very strategic. He has sent his nephew, he has given nephew a position that don't need Senate confirmation. He could serve in that capacity the duration he wants, and nobody's going to question that. Case in point, from my understanding, maybe somebody can correct me, but Mary Brewer, from the beginning of the Ellen administration, I think she was rejected, and Ellen has appointed her as acting city mayor of Monrovia. And she served the duration of Ellen's presidency over there, I think, without confirmation. So if those things are not put in proper perspective, it's going to be a problem. Let me close on this. President Weah reprimanded the COP and the CDC, COP.
Yeah.
He reprimanded them because he felt that they should do the right thing. But there were no instance, there's no history of candidate Boakai or Vice President Boakai reprimanding anybody that supported him. Example, Representative Yake was in Lofa County 4 years. He disgraced, he humiliated his colleague, Thomas Fala, talking about he's now a Liberian, and he's going to ship him on the truck or cow truck to Guinea. Vice President Boakai at the time Kennedy Boakai was standing right there when he went for the Senate election in Lofa County. So now the shoes is on the other foot. I'm not in support of his behavior.
Thank you.
People should put those things into perspective.
Thank you.
But again, guys, great show, man. I'll find the time to get on the show one of these days.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you
right.
for the time.
I got somebody. Go ahead, caller.
Okay.
Yeah, guys, good show. I got 2 points to make. Look, this government came in with the notion of being an experienced bunch, and we're going to expect a steady hand. This government had 2 months of transition. This government got what they wanted on the Senate side, they got their leadership. The president should have announced his significant cabinet position prior to the inauguration, and we should have been seeing confirmation hearing this week. We're gone a week by nothing. All we've seen the president doing, attending the GISI program, attending his granddaughter concert. Second point, the whole notion that the president was wearing a bulletproof vest is a farce. Linda Thomas Greenfield was sitting on that podium. What was the security threat at that place for VP Burka to be wearing a security vest? Thank you.
Thank. I just got one more call. Let's take the last call and we're done. Call it 210. Last 4 is 0098. Go ahead. A minute.
Hey, Lofa, how you doing? Do I hang out the phone or you need to
Go ahead. You got a minute. Go ahead. You're already wasting your time. Go ahead. You have 1 minute. You see, there you go. You have a minute, Helena. Go ahead.
Okay, Lofa, you see, something you're not saying, you're two-faced.
Yeah, me too.
You said that man said I already say they must respect the office. They must respect it. And all of them support Yeka Koruba. All of them in inside too. They used to support Yeka Koruba. When Yeka Koruba went to Lofa over there, and that Bwaka carry Yeka Koruba there, when Yeka Koruba was calling the president for football, I think they used to be laughing. When one line and they should start respecting the president office. When that two things where they can be showing that we're not even joking, sir. We're not joking because they got a big face. And they're not paying, we're not big good. We're not big good because we're not take it. We'll pass that Bwaka. We'll cost money night. What kind of thing is that? Why are you reaching another person in my cost there? Then when you read the other person's side, then you say you must respect the president office. But I want Lord for there. What is for that? Then when they say when we were there, they will say that something wrong with CBC people. Bye.
Bye.
Look, guys. You want to talk about the program tomorrow?
Yeah, quickly, man. Quickly. Tomorrow we're having a very important program, a special edition of Liberian soccer and basketball and track and field. We have former national players, Benedict Wisa, they call him back in the day, they call him Mama Musa, and then Charles Worthworth, and also the former national track and field coach Kevin Soko. They will be our guest tomorrow. We'll talk about why our football is at this where the standard of our football is at this place, and what we make recommendations, how we can improve it. And we know a lot of people have expressed interest to watch the show tomorrow, and they'll be involved. If anybody want to join us on the panel tomorrow to talk about this, this important game that brings Liberians together. Today, Liberians are all talking about. They get a team called Arsenal, Manchester, and back in our days when we were growing up, my team was Madi Barrow. I could die for Barrow any day, you know. And so, but today I hear people say I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm Chelsea fan, and all that crap. I hardly watch those kind of games because I think we just have lost interest in our own sports. We should get involved with it. So tomorrow, our guys will be able to talk more about it tomorrow. And also, the UP chairman just sent a text. He said that he will find time to come on our show. We got the presidential team had a break today, but he was just on phone, so he feel that we should find time to come on our show. So we'll look forward to him next week to come on our show. Hopefully, he will follow on his promise, and we'll look forward to him coming on the show. So let's get ready, and we hope to engage him next week to talk about all the things that are happening. So, guys, let's watch the show tomorrow. And concerning the Minister of Foreign Affairs designate, I think we have Sunday open. If she really wants to appear there, we can push her for Sunday. I'm sure the guys will agree. So
yeah, Sunday afternoon, like around 2, like that. Yeah,
because Monday is the Sona, so we gotta. So, but that's how we are. But guys, let's go tomorrow, 3:30 our time on the East Coast, and 8:30 in Monrovia. A lot of people will tune to watch that soccer and basketball stuff discussion. So I think Tuyo Harris said you'll join us tomorrow. So guys, let's come make a show of success tomorrow. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right, guys. Lofa, I mean the words of the last corner. Bye.
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 All right, guys. Oliver Dungo, have a good weekend. Robert, we'll see you. Have a good
Henry?
Tomalin, let's talk.
Okay.
Man, I asked Tomalin to give me your number. He hasn't sent it.
Hey, give the man number now because I will forget him.